Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
Welcome to another Vital MX MotoXpod show presented by Boyesen and Race Tech. This one's going to be a little different. We've got the 2023 GNCC series finishing up, and we're going to talk a lot of off-road tonight, Scotty. We'll have the 2023 XC2 champion on the phone, Liam Draper, as well as his teammate, Ampro Yamaha's Rachael Archer, who just won her second WXC championship at Ironman, or she actually wrapped it up a week earlier. Then the legend, the infamous Steward Baylor is going to come on, talk about his second place finish overall at Ironman. I believe he was second on the season. And we're going to close the show out with a little bit of arena cross talk, which technically we're not supposed to use that title anymore. But the Jay Reynolds, the owner of the General Tires Arena Motocross Nationals, is going to come on.
Okay.
Talk about that series. It starts in about a week and a half, I believe, in Kansas. So he's going to come on. Before we get going, get into all those things, my always reliable co-host, Scotty Thompson.
Did you just give me a compliment?
I did. Don't tell anybody.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Nobody's listening right now.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Honestly, dude, I'm kind of jealous of you, man. You Millville Ride Day last weekend, riding Ironman this weekend, living the dream, dude.
I thought you were going to say because I'm just awesome. And
No, that's not what I was thinking.
That's not what you're thinking. All right. Well, also on the phone, all the way from the UK, my buddy, Lewis Phillips.
Hello, it has been a while.
It feels like it's been way too long for me, for you. You probably feel like it's been a blessing.
Yes, sorry I haven't been around. I've been doing important things like watching a puddle evaporate.
Okay.
I am thrilled to see that you haven't tweaked this winning formula at all by improving the quality.
What a D-hole. This is not how you talk to me when we're having our friendly conversations every day, Lewis.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that came from, to be honest.
All right, well, this is going to be the Boyesen Open discussion. And don't forget that Boyesen loves to spotlight the Factory Racing's Rider Support Program, which is a comprehensive support system for motocross and off-road riders. The program offers participants exclusive access to Boyesen's products, yearly discounts, and the potential to become one of their new product development test riders. If Scotty would ever get his bike back together, he could do that. Join the community of Boyesen Factory Flyers by visiting boyesen.com. So Lewis, we're going to keep you on just for a little bit tonight because we're doing a lot of off-road talk, and that is not your specialty. You have other things.
No, if you're going to be doing that, then I'll get back to watching my puddle.
It'll last just a little bit longer. Just hang tight.
How many tiles are on the ceiling of your?
How many tiles?
Yeah.
Well, I'll get to that after the puddle.
Okay. Well, listen, Lewis, last week, Scotty and I were talking about the quote-unquote crossover race that's been hinted at that Luongo has been kind of touching on and trying to get together with MX Sports and Feld to have, again, a crossover race that I think would be very exciting. There were some questions brought up by Scotty about how some of this is going to work. So can you give us the details that you know of how the point structure would work, how that would happen and kind of work for, we have the AMA maybe involved, the FIM with that side of the MXGP series. So like, how would all that work?
Well, it is just a rumor. Like, there really aren't any details. But when I say rumor, it's not like just something that's been out and about. There have been meetings. Team managers were notified that this would happen. So, like, it's a little further along than a rumor, but that doesn't mean that there are any details or firm plans in place. When this first surfaced, it was the middle of 2022, and at that point, it was rumored to happen in 2024. That's obviously not happening. So maybe this will never happen. They are definitely still keen to do it. But as you alluded to there are a lot of ins and outs to this thing. So, first and foremost, it would be a current round of MXGP and a current round of the AMA Nationals. So it wouldn't be an additional race. It would literally be as if nothing, it would just be a special version, or not even that, because it's what we've got already, but it would just be a slightly special round of each series.
Okay.
Effectively, a normal round with more riders. The way that I got it explained to me is that the riders would be scored as they finish, similar to the Nations. So if Tomac were to win and then the next closest AMA rider was fourth, they would get first and fourth points. The AMA rider wouldn't be pushed to second because, like, you know what I mean? The MXGP riders wouldn't be removed from the AMA points. The idea behind that would be to keep everyone racing hard and Sexton not be like, well, I don't need to pass Prado because he's not in my championship, so it makes no difference to me. So that's that. I've heard that a few times. Yeah, what else do you want to know? What else do you want to know, Jamie, friend?
So when we were having the conversation last week about it, Lewis, I was trying to figure out how you would choreograph all the different sanctions of the different events. You have the FIM, then you have the people that in front, and then you have AMA, and then you have MX Sports, and then you have because now the Super Motocross is together, you have Feld a part of it. How would you see that would be organized, and like would all those people get along?
Well, Feld and MX Sports are obviously already getting along, and that's very public. Quietly, they are also getting along with in front. Like, they are doing monthly emails and calls just talking about motocross, like essentially just bench racing. So that all three of those entities are like working well together, or they're not working together yet, but they're singing from the same hymn sheet, which is good. If this race were to happen, I don't know what would happen as far as rule books and fuel and sound and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's probably one of the biggest tripping points.
That's what I was thinking.
Because if it's going to be a round of MXGP, you can't tell the MXGP teams to suddenly adhere to different rules, and vice versa. You can't tell the AMA riders to do that because it will be a round of their series as well. So yeah, I don't know about that. That would be I'd imagine that would be one of the things stopping this, along with what would they do about the age rule? I guess you would just say that for MX2 riders from Europe, you still have to be under 23. And then if you're an AMA rider, you can be whatever age, as normal. I guess that's how that would work. But yeah, apart from there aren't that many details out and about. And like I say, this may never happen, but it's stronger than a rumour. And like, obviously, everyone in the world read my article on Vital MX last week.
Yeah, everyone. 100%.
I can see that by the numbers.
Yes.
And Luongo is like openly discussing this. And you know how it goes in this sport. If something is just a rumor, no one's going to give an interview where they answer questions about it quite like happily. So
yeah.
Even the fact that Luongo is talking about it, that should tell you that it's more than just a rumor. It's a plan that they are trying to get off the ground.
Okay.
Oh,
ahead, Scotty.
Well, what do you think that would happen with the TV broadcast? Would CBS and NBC both be there?
Well, CBS don't. All CBS do is take MXGP TV's.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
They don't. The CBS don't do anything like particular for MXGP.
Okay.
They just literally rip off a feed and put it on American television. They aren't involved at all, apart from having a deal to stream it, or not stream it, broadcast it.
But yeah, I mean, that's one of those details that obviously we don't know yet, but MXGP and NBC Peacock would just have to come to some kind of agreement, I'm sure, and they would probably figure that out. How likely do you personally think this is something to happen, say, next year?
Well, what, next year, 2024?
Well, it's not on the schedule 24, so 25.
Yeah. Okay. See, I liked, from everything that I've been told, like team managers being notified, the conversations I've had with Luongo on and off record, that all makes me go, well, this will happen. Everyone is super positive. They believe this. But then when we start to have these conversations and talk about TV and rule books, then I start to go, I wonder if they will ever like get through the
Red
mess
tape
to make this happen. Yeah. But I think where there's a will, there's a way. If everyone wants this to happen, and I think they will, then at the end of the day, if Feld, MX Sports, and In Front are on board, there's nothing stopping us because they are the three most powerful organizations in the sport. So if they are all going to push it together, why would there be an issue?
Yeah, exactly. Like Scotty said last week, I think you said, Sky, like, well, what if, say, one team didn't want to do it or whatever? They're like, well, okay, well then I guess you're going to miss out on points because we're doing it. You know, if the two, go ahead.
It's not even a case where one team would say they don't want to do it because as far as the teams are concerned, this is a round of the champ. Like,
exactly.
It won't. If you look at the pro motocross schedule, you won't notice a difference because it will look exactly the same. It's just that those people in the know will know that when you go to Redbud or High Point or wherever it is, there's going to be more riders and it'll be a much bigger event. An event that, if it ever happens, and again, I need to stress if, because who knows, if this happens, I genuinely believe it'll be bigger than the Nations.
I agree with you. I think it's something that a lot of the fans have wanted to see for a long time. And yeah, it'd be massive. I think the only negative, like really I see is maybe a rider, like if an American rider got in between two guys that were battling in the GPs for points, like there'd be a bigger gap, but that's just racing. That could happen if they just race in the GPs. So I don't see really any negatives. I kind of wonder, have you talked to any of the GP riders that you're tight with, like say Jeremy or Jeffrey, and just what they would think of something like that? Have you heard any?
Yeah, everyone's buzzing.
They're all the riders too are into it.
Well, so let me tell. So when I was the very first person to get this rumor. Like I was going around in MXGP to every team going, "Have you heard about this?" And everyone was like, "No."
Oh, you were that guy.
So I ran around spreading this like wildfire,
like COVID-19.
Yes, it was for like 2 weeks. It was all like I literally was how I started every conversation. Like, hey, do you want to hear something cool? So I got everyone's reaction, and everyone was like, "Fuck, that'll be sick if it does happen."
I love it. I mean, Scotty, I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool if they finally would put to rest all these questions that we always have.
I don't know if it does that because it's just one race.
Like, well, if it happens every year, then
Yeah, I still feel like the way to put those questions that you're talking about to rest, who's the best, is you'd have to have a full series where you race in a lot of different terrain, and I don't think one race tells you a whole lot, but it'd still be pretty badass.
Yeah.
Even one championship doesn't tell you a whole lot.
Sure.
Prado won the MXGP title. Was he the best rider? You can debate that all day long. So even if you run 10 championships, there would always be a question. There would never be an outright answer unless someone like Carmichael just wins all 10, and then obviously it's quite clear.
Pretty clear, yeah. Changing the subject, speaking of Jorge Prado, have you had any communication with him since he's been riding a little soupy?
No, I don't want. I just imagine that his phone's probably blowing up.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't want to be that guy. If I think, like, for instance, when Jeffrey got hurt, I was going to text him, and then I was like, well, everyone's texting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be one of the sheep.
I didn't text him.
How I live my life.
I didn't text him.
Lewis is playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers. I like it.
It's like when Jamie finished for GNCC, I was going to contact him, and then I was like, everyone's contacting Jamie.
That is true, including Prado and Hurlings. They both sent me text saying, good job, Darkside. So speaking of Jeffrey Hurlings, dude, what is this guy going to do about his collarbone and injuries? Another crash this weekend in the Netherlands at the Sandcross race. Yeah. Another collarbone injury.
I have a question. Why is he doing that if he's nursing an injury? That's my first question.
Money makes that monkey dance.
Okay. Heard.
Well,
yep.
Yeah. What do we think about this? It seems like if he crashes, he gets hurt almost every time. I know that's been a big topic of discussion, but the collarbone, this has got to be what, 5 times?
8, 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I actually said this after his first injury this year. Like, screw the racing. On a personal level, I can't imagine how tough it is to get hurt again.
Yeah.
And in another weird circumstance, like, I mean, it's not that weird because that does happen in a beach race, but if you watch the video of that crash, it was so slow and gentle, and there's no way on earth that I would think that would injure someone.
Yep.
So the fact that did injure him, like, there's no way that has to affect his confidence, doesn't it? Like, you have to be like, well, shit, like, if that breaks my collarbone, then anything will. But next, the roost will break his collarbone.
Yes, it's soft sand, right?
Yeah, I was about to ask you that about his confidence, because you know him obviously better than Scotty or I, because we don't know him at all. So I was going to ask you where you thought his confidence level is, because he does portray to be a very confident guy, but in your pretty in-depth interview you did with him a few months ago, like, you know, he's a regular guy. He definitely has, you know, he definitely has his thoughts about things like that.
Well, he put on Instagram earlier that he has got 2 iron collarbones fitted, and there will be sexy days ahead in 2024.
The one I saw was where he said he's going to start drinking more milk or something to strengthen the bones.
Oh no, he did another story today and said honestly, his words were, there are sexy days ahead.
Okay, well, I like the confidence. I hope that's real. I hope he's not having doubts. You don't want him to get out there.
I honestly don't think he has doubts. I think he just doesn't. I think he gives no fucks.
Yeah.
I think his mindset is, shit, oh well, I'll get healthy, I'll come back, I'll win, and then if I get hurt again, I'll just get healthy, come back and win. You know? Like, I think he's just like I think he does just go with the flow and rides for highs and rides for lows.
Well, that's probably a good way to do it, so he doesn't get too low. We don't want that, and I want to see him back, though, in 25. I want to see a healthy Geyser versus Hurlings versus Prado versus Favre in 25.
Well, 24.
24, that too. 24, 25.
Well,
Yep.
25, you won't be able to see that because Prado will be in America.
Yeah. I was jumping ahead too far, Lewis. Thank you for calling me out on that.
Yeah, Prado, I would bet all of my money that Prado will be in America in 2025.
Well, you used all your money to get your visa.
Yep. But good news, I did some research earlier. In Indonesia, I would be a millionaire still.
So, breaking news: Lewis Phillips is moving to Indonesia.
Yep.
Where the
Well, to be
Indonesian,
honest, honestly, everyone would be. It turns out that $50 is million in Indonesia.
oh wow, those
Breaking news.
those Indonesias are broke. They're poor people.
So my monthly rent I could just go ball out one month in Indonesia.
Yeah, you could go over there and become an Indonesia. Indonesia's
It's
inside. Lewis knows.
An Indonesian?
Lewis knows where I'm going. So, yeah. Anyway,
Sad inside joke.
all right, Lewis. That's all I got for you tonight, man. I'll let you get back to watching your puddle. We're gonna move on with an off-road talk.
Okay, Jamie.
Yes, sir.
Have a great show.
Thank you, Lewis. You have a great night, and I'm sure I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Wait, am I supposed to have a trash show?
He doesn't remember your name.
Yeah, I know.
You just do what you got to do.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Lewis.
All right, see
See
ya.
you, buddy. Lewis Phillips, always entertaining. Love his content. Vital MX. Check out everything he's been writing. Before we move on, I want to remind you guys about Race Tech. I got Race Tech on my YZ250, which might be sold. Can't wait for the shit storm I'm going to get from.
Yeah, why did you say that? You shouldn't have said that.
Because the person I'm selling it to listens to the show, and like it's going to get out there that I don't have it anymore if I sell it. And even though Kiefer was like, you can, he told me like as soon as I got it, he's like,
Oh, you know he's going to still give you.
yeah,
crap
he's like,
about
you can
it.
sell if you want, but I know it's going to be brutal.
You don't like having the backup bike?
I do, but what I would rather do is get the money from that bike to pay off my shop, and then have that money every month that I'm spending on the shop payment.
Oh yeah,
I want that off my plate.
yeah. That's a good idea.
And I don't really ride the YZ, other than like I let other people ride it.
Yeah,
like
I've rode it a few times.
But yeah, I think I just kind of want to get rid of it. And if I do have a backup bike, I would rather get like a 350 that's mine.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to sell it good. It's only got like 20 hours on it.
19.8.
Yeah.
Yep, 19.8. I still have to do the FMF exhaust test on it, so I'm going to put a couple hours on it. Probably I was going to do it this weekend, but now it sounds like we're going to get rain. But anyway, it has Race Tech on it, and it's the best. Race Tech Gold Valves provide a plush feel with drastically improved bottoming resistance and increased traction. All Race Tech products are 100% guaranteed and made in the USA. And don't forget, Race Tech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company with over 35 years of providing factory-level suspension to the everyday rider, and they're located all over the United States. Check out racetech.com to find your local service center. Get with your local service tech. Meet them, introduce yourself, start using them. They'll probably at your local track riding, and they'll help you out with all your needs. You want to get into some GNCC talk?
Yeah.
So, Ironman this weekend, right? What we got? I got 10 minutes before we got to get. Let me kind of ask me some questions. I got to text Liam and let him know we're calling him here in a minute. So, yeah, you got any questions?
Yeah. Well, the first thing we have to address is the post that you put out that I guess was prompted by your buddy Kiefer.
Oh, the troll training?
Yeah, the before troll training and after, dude. Honestly, when I saw that, like, it is kind of funny that y'all were joking around like that. Sure. But like, dude, like that is two completely different people. It's insane what you've.
Yeah, the before picture was actually when I was riding in the desert with Kiefer when I got the Yamaha. So that was over a year ago.
Yeah,
but yeah, much better shape. So yeah, okay. Anybody that remembers, maybe some people don't know. I did Ironman last year, crashed. Thought I broke my collarbone, didn't finish. So I got the nickname from our friends over at Pulpamex and Kiefer of Quit Side. Yeah. That actually might have come from my boss, Michael Lindsay. I can't remember where it actually started.
Doesn't matter.
Got a lot of crap about not finishing, so I went back this year for redemption. I did finish. I signed up in the plus 45B, which I probably should have signed up for C, which that's what I did in Florida.
Yeah.
Those guys were a lot better, but I did finish. I finished 15th. I had been telling everybody 13th, but it was 15th.
Yeah.
15th out of 22. And yeah, I was pretty happy with it. When I got the checkers, I could have went another lap. I felt pretty good. I was glad I didn't have to go another lap. And we're going to probably talk more about this after the guest because we do have our guest coming on. I can't get too much into it right now, but track was perfect. They got a little bit of rain before the race, or the course was perfect, not the track. Wasn't too muddy. A couple of sections were pretty muddy, but it was really a perfect off-road race. It was so much fun. Before we get into the details of the riding, I want to thank a few people. So Ampro Yamaha had me out. Mm-hmm. That team is owned by legendary off-road rider Randy Hawkins.
Yep.
Randy was fantastic. Mike Ulrich with Yamaha got me hooked up on that situation. And then I want to thank all the riders that were part of that. The team, Ricky Russell, Liam Draper, Rachael Archer, Zach Osborne. I had my mechanic that weekend was Josh Siegel. He kills it. He's a Pulp fan and listens, and he helped me out with practicing starts, even though my start was terrible in the actual race.
Oh, yeah, you're worried about pushing that button.
So, yeah, it's dead engine starts. We practice them. Like there's so many rows of classes. Like I think I was row 7.
Yeah.
So the first row goes, and when they do the dead engine start, you do a practice one. And it started every time until my time, and then it didn't start.
Well, of course.
So that was a bummer. But realistically, even if I'd pulled, say, the whole shot, those guys were so much better than me. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
They were going by. The goal was to finish. We finished. There were some Pulp snowboards listeners, fans out there from Pulpamex. Tiller, Brent, and Josh were out there supporting Justin Starling, and they were giving me a lot of support and yelling for me on the course. And they were there at the finish line when I came off. So I want to shout out those guys. Then the biggest thank you goes to Cody and Mackenzie, who let me stay in their RV. They're friends of mine. I met them at Indianapolis Supercross this year. They're fantastic. They had their beautiful daughter with them, Naomi, who I got to hang out with and play with. She gave me a huge hug when I left. She's like 3 or 4 years old.
Oh,
maybe 5. I apologize. I don't know how. She just the cutest little thing and so sweet. Gave me a huge hug when I left. That was my highlight, by the way. I need to write that down for my Prox highs. But I also met Mackenzie's dad, Pete, and his wife, Tara. By the way, Pete is very, very, very basement.
Okay.
But Friday night, we go to the concert. They have a concert at Ironman. I don't know that they do this at every GNCC, but they had a live band Friday night. We're there. We're hanging out. There's some drinks being had. Pete's drinking a few beers, and, man, he's talking some shit.
Yeah.
Talking about, he's telling me all the stories about how good he is, and he's talking shit with Cody, his son-in-law, and he's like, hey, we got to figure out, we're all going to have a bet on who finishes better. But obviously, those guys, Cody and Pete, have way more experience than I do, so Pete's trying to figure out these handicaps where it works out because of my lack of experience, plus our age over Cody, because Cody's a young little bastard. But all his handicaps work in his favor. He's making sure that whatever happens, he can win. And he's like, well, yeah, man, I'm going to win. Of course, he's talking all this shit. Then Saturday, he's like, man, I don't think I'm going to ride. My back hurts. He's old. And I mean, kind of like, why are you being a pussy?
Yeah.
It's just all day. Man, I just don't think I'm going to ride.
Liquid courage, man. He ran out.
Yeah, he ran out. Yeah. I mean, I think he was just worried that he was going to get worked by me and Cody.
I think I had a lot more.
You don't know, Pete. You just shut up with Scotty. But then Saturday night, there's another concert and more alcohol being had. And then Pete's like, okay, I'm thinking racing tomorrow. So then we made him.
You're like, you got to do it,
You got to
man.
go now. So he did race. Here's my question for you. So at the end of the day, we both finished, Pete and myself. My finishing total time of my race was 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 56 seconds. Just under 2 hours. Not bad.
Yeah.
His total time was 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 17 seconds. So almost 30 minutes longer on the course than me. What does that tell you?
That you were probably cheating.
Tells me I finished the race faster than him.
It does.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Any other details do not matter. I got you, Pete. I finished in less time than you did.
Yep.
So I think that makes me the winner.
The tortoise in the hair.
Yep. Now, Cody, I tried pulling up Cody's results, and the GNCC website was giving me crap today, but Cody's rips. And honestly, Pete rips too. I looked at his lap times. So should I be honest, or should I just leave it at that?
Hey, you got to do whatever you got to do, man. Look.
He actually did an extra lap than I did. Yeah. So his lap times were about, I'm looking right now, like 5 to 7 minutes faster, which is pretty significant. My first lap was 36 minutes. His was
12-mile loop.
I don't know how many miles that one is for sure. I think it's less. Wild Boar was like 13. I'm pretty sure this one was less. Mm-hmm. Maybe 10. I can't remember the number. So maybe somebody in the chat may know. There's maps. But no, I just want to give Pete some shit. The whole family was fantastic. I met Mackenzie's sister and her husband, Pete's other daughter, Sarah and Ryan. Just the whole family welcomed me in.
Yeah.
Tara made this roast or pot roast for dinner. Oh my God. I generally don't like pot roast.
Yeah, I'm usually either.
Best things I've ever ate in my life. Like I had 2 or 3 bowls of it Saturday night. Didn't care.
Was that because you were tired and under any kind of influence, or is it just that good?
We'll get to that after the show. Okay. After the guest, we got to get. Well, yeah, there was a little bit of drinking had. That was after though. The drinking was had after.
Okay,
I think that was Saturday night.
So what to say is it.
Well, I drank a little bit Friday night, but like 1 beer that Pete gave me because I felt the peer pressure.
1 beer, man.
Yeah, well, for me, I don't like beer.
Fair enough.
But it was some really good food. So I just want to thank all of them for everything they did. Just a great family, and I appreciate their hospitality. It's really nice having people and the whole GNCC scene is that way.
Yeah, they're
everybody
tight,
is just awesome. We definitely aren't going to wrap this whole thing up and talk about it too much. I'm going to work on getting Liam on the phone while we keep talking. But Ironman Hill, that's kind of the highlight of the course. It's one of the big obstacle that everybody kind of worries about. And unfortunately, I'm going to get a lot of crap for admitting this, but I didn't make it up Ironman Hill one single time. The very first lap, there was a traffic jam. I got halfway up, and the dude in front of me kind of hit the guy in front of him and then fell over, and then I had to stop and go back down, and I just said, screw it, and I went around. And every lap that I got to Ironman Hill, there was a traffic jam. And I said, screw it, I'm going around every lap. And I kind of regret that now. Yeah. But I just wanted to.
You got to finish, man. Like that's. I'm
the goal was to finish because if I didn't finish, I was gonna never hear the end of it. So yeah, we're gonna get our first guest online, and he'll probably give me some crap for not ever getting up Ironman Hill this particular week. I did do it last year. I don't guess that counts really. So I'm a little bit. Yeah,
you can't have your cake and eat it too. You either finish.
No, but look, I finished.
Yeah, you finish or don't. You don't get the hill or get the hill.
Next year we'll work on improving time and being better. But FXR is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, and performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Visit fxrracing.com to see all the numerous gear lines. The 2024 gear line colorways are out. They're available at your local shops. Ask for FXR. Tonight, FXR brings us the 2023 GNCC XC2 champion and Pro Yamaha's Liam Draper. What's up, Liam?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good, man. Has it all sunk in yet? How are we feeling?
Yeah. I mean, it's slowly sinking in. It's quite funny. Me and Craig DeLong been hanging out together since we left the track. We played golf together today, so it's kind of like chatting about it most days together and hanging out. It's quite funny, really.
Yeah, like I don't know how much you know about the show, but we primarily focus on motocross and supercross. So I always kind of wonder. There's a lot of things I don't know about the off-road world, so I wonder how that championship compares in your mind to say a super like Eli Tomac win a championship, and how much it means, how much of your life has been the goal.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big goal and a big dream of mine. I mean, I'm originally from New Zealand, so I packed my bags in 2018 and left New Zealand and lived in a Sprinter van and did the whole thing. And it's crazy to think how far I've come since then.
Yeah, since we don't know you that well, let's get a little bit of that background. Grew up in New Zealand. How did you get into motorcycle racing? I did do a little research, and I saw that your parents, I guess your dad rode, and your parents met while racing, I believe. So I assume that's your entire youth was just around motorcycles.
Yeah, definitely. It was through my family. My dad raced, and I mean, it just progressed from, every kid's P-Dub 50, progressed up and up. And I actually got off of an off-road bike and did trials for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, just solid. And then I did moto in New Zealand. And then after that, I went back to off-road. And a really close friend of mine, I'm sure you guys know Ben Townley.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, I lived with Ben for a while, and he's like, man, you gotta do something with this. So I got good friends with Wibbs too, Paul Wibley, a former GNCC champ, and we kind of just lined some things up, and got in contact with someone over here in America in 2018, a Husky team, and I'd never talked to them over the phone, just through email and stuff, and I jumped on a plane, and they were there at the other end and picked me up, and I stayed with them for a few days, and then I got my own van, and my dad came over and we built it out, and I lived in the van for 2 months, and then I met Stu at a race in Georgia, and ended up living with Stu Baylor for 2 years, and was in his wedding and everything, and that got me onto a KTM and KTM support, and then for the last 4 years I was on a KTM supported team, and then I got in contact with Randy at the end of last year, and here we are.
So growing up in New Zealand, what is the racing scene like? The motocross scene, the off-road scene? First of all, it sounds like you were more drawn to off-road, but is there a possibility to earn a living in New Zealand racing series, or is coming to America kind of the end goal most of the time?
Yeah, I mean, America is always the end goal. Obviously, people like BT and even Cody Cooper made a living in New Zealand racing motocross, but it was probably maybe Paul Wibley was the only guy in New Zealand in off-road, like hair scramble racing, to make it a job. So I worked all week and raced on the weekends. I used to do a little bit of work on a farming business and driving tractors and a bit of everything, really. And just to make it work.
Awesome.
Hey, so we had a listener that wanted to know what kind of bonus you guys were getting from the championship and from just a race.
Right into the money thing, huh?
That's why I'm just
Right,
giving the people
money,
what they want. Giving the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, she ain't no supercross and motocross budget, that's for sure. But no, I mean, we make it work, and obviously I'm not going to say the exact number because it'd probably get me in trouble. But no, I mean, it's an off-road budget, and it's enough. I enjoy it, and it's enough for me to do it for a living. So
no Lambo being picked up this week, though, huh?
No, I ain't rolling down to a Lambo this week.
Yeah. So I don't really follow the sport crazy. I do keep up with it somewhat, and but I've kind of seen that that's the general vibe, that it's enough to where you're enjoying doing it and everything's taken care of, but it's not anything like that's crazy. And I'm kind of curious to see it seems like y'all are getting bigger. So I would wonder what it's going to be like in the next few years, and if I don't know if you're moving up classes next year or not, but that should change things as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean definitely the money has gone up a lot. I mean, my first year over here, I wasn't paid at all. I was on bonuses, just from the promoters and things like that. But from what I know, the salaries and the bonuses have definitely been going up. I mean,
That's good.
I'm staying in XC2 next year to defend my title, and I'm going to ride a 450 in a sprint series. But
Okay.
just from this year to next year is a big up.
Yeah, I've had Craig DeLong on in the past, and obviously your teammate Ricky Russell. Those are the two main off-road guys we've had. I find it interesting that the sport, the GNCC, the off-road series are not as big as quote unquote popular as Supercross or motocross on TV and commercially, but at the events I think Davey told me, I'm looking at my notes here. Davey told me today that it was 2,834 unique entries this past weekend, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 people out there. I mean, it looked like double the people that were at the Ironman Motocross National. It's a shame that it's such a big fan-supported event, but the pay is not as significant, obviously. And I wonder if a lot of that is because the coverage is more difficult to show it on TV, or I just wonder why that is.
I honestly think that is it. I mean, they do their best with the drone footage and all that, but nothing beats, being in a stadium and having a bunch of cameras super easy to get to, and TV coverage. It's almost better to watch. I've been to Supercross and motocross, and sometimes it's even better watching it at home than being there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I just think you guys deserve a lot more recognition from the mainstream media than what is given sometimes. I mean, the fans see it. The GNCC fans are unreal. I've now been a part of 3 of them: the Wild Boar, and this one with you guys, and then last year I did Ironman with the KTM team. And it's just, it's crazy how many people are there, and it's so supportive. Like, those guys are out there helping, and they're along the course just yelling and cheering, and it's one of the coolest things I've ever experienced.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you get a chance to do it next year, I'd put Snowshoe on your list, because that one's just as wild as, if not wilder than what you just went to.
But that's the one. Okay, I think that's the one that's like real, like rocky and kind of more tight.
Yeah, you may not enjoy the course, but the atmosphere is something else.
Maybe I'll come hang out, but I don't want to ride that one.
Yeah, Liam, he has a tendency to have to go to the hospital when he does things like that. So we're gonna have to, from Vital MX, ain't gonna let him do that.
Right, for sure. No, it's definitely one to watch the Snowshoe. We start on the pavement in the middle of a township.
Oh, really?
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to make it out to that one. I don't think I want to ride.
You've never seen the footage? I always see
I haven't. No.
Every year when they do Snowshoe, I always get an Instagram clip of somebody wiping out and taking out a banner or something on the first corner.
Nice.
every year.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this season, Liam. I believe it was 3 wins, 9 podiums. I mean, clearly your best season by far. What do you kind of make of that? You said you changed teams, but what set this season apart from others?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been on a team for 4 years, and I'd never really. I was capable of wins and proved myself that I was a guy to win races, but could never seal it. And I basically hounded Randy down for this opportunity, and they gave me a 1-year deal to prove myself. And the team, I think the team is the biggest thing, a team that wants to win and does everything possible to win, and a mechanic that works his ass off. Just the whole lot just came together, really, and good teammates with obviously Zacho and Ricky. It's definitely helped.
Oh, yeah, so I was looking at your points and like how everything was structured earlier today, and I saw that you obviously won the XC2 championship, but there was there was a deal where it says that, you got like 10th overall. I don't know the sport well enough, and maybe some of our listeners don't, to where I'm not really sure how that works. What do you guys are in an overall championship as well?
Oh, go ahead. Never mind.
Yeah, so that's XC1 and XC2 joint. That's the overall points for the year. So I'm 10th overall with the XC1 guys.
Okay,
which is the top 10 gets you on pro row. Like if a team's looking for you to have a semi on pro row, they need a top 10 guy. So being inside the top 10 is quite a big thing.
Okay, yeah. See, that's kind of where I was going, where I was thinking that was, but I wasn't really sure about all that, and I didn't realize the pit thing. That's really cool. Do you have you ever seen? Has there ever been an XC2 guy finish higher than that, higher than what you did?
Yeah, I know. I think Ben Kelly a few years ago was, I want to say, 5th or 4th, maybe. Yeah, he won the first 7. He won 7 or 8 straight races in XC2.
A minute ago, you mentioned Randy Hawkins. He's the team manager, team owner of Ampro Yamaha, and of course, a legendary off-road rider, as we've talked about. How much do you lean on him for pointers? Do you talk to him about setup and training and just the racing in general? Like, how much do you talk to him about that and his history?
Yeah, I talk to Randy a good bit. His knowledge is pretty far, and most races, Randy will be out there watching the track, the 10 a.m. race, and checking things out, and he'll come and sit down with me and let me know the things he sees, and give us ideas. Like this past weekend, the track was super rough, and he was like, man, you're gonna have to start squaring stuff up, swinging wide, going up the inside, just little things like that. And his advice is good.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we lost you. Yeah. He didn't give me that advice, Liam. I missed that. I was.
Yeah, you missed that memo?
No, I should have been inside for that team meeting, but that was after my race.
Yeah. No, Randy's definitely helped me a lot. And the biggest thing was nothing's a problem there. Like if I wanted to test, we would go test, and I think I tested only 3 times this year, which is all I needed, and I was super happy with my stuff. But he would always call and check in and see if I needed anything or just things like that. That's what made the difference from coming from a supported team to a factory team.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I know you guys do a lot when y'all are coming into. It's something that motocross and supercross doesn't experience, where you guys pretty much do a pit stop and you have to get gas refilled, and I was changing your water bottles out and getting new goggles and stuff. But not only those guys, but the guys that are spotting you and stuff on the course, like I see sometimes in the footage, they'll be like pointing out a line or stuff. Like how pivotal is that to you? And like, are you kind of like, if you're racing, you're in a battle with somebody, and you know where somebody's going to stand, are you like really looking for their input and stuff? Does that big part of it?
Yeah, definitely. The spotters are a massive help, especially when it comes to like a big mud race. I think it was 2 or 3 races ago, we had a full-blown mudder, and I think the Yamaha team had about 8 guys on the track that all had backpacks full of goggles and gloves, but they were also at a mud hole pointing us lines to get us through, where the previous places I'd been, like, we didn't have that kind of resources to have people out on the track. Like, it was, you were out there for the lap and get back if you want goggles, And that's what makes the difference from being a podium to a top 5 guy to winning a championship, I believe.
Yeah, those resources are huge. And Scotty, since you haven't been to one, the pros, the bike PM riders, they race down pro lane. So the pits are lined up at Ironman on a gravel road, and they race down that lane, and like the riders' girlfriends and the wives, or they're out there holding the water bottles, and these dudes are just ripping by, grabbing them as they go. It's super impressive.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay,
yeah.
It blows my mind. And then they'll miss the water bottles. Oh well, got to keep going. It's crazy to watch them.
Wait, have you ever seen anybody get like clipped or anything like that? Anything like that happen?
You asking me or you asking?
Or I'm asking him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't personally seen it, but I've heard it's happened before. I think it was actually, I want to say it was Caleb Russell's wife got hit a few years ago. A long time ago, she got hit. I think it was her.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
It could easily happen. Normally we try and get them in a tight left-hand turn. Normally they put a chicane right before we get on or leave pro row. But the left-hand turn, a slow left-hand turn is the best because we're always going to grab the bottle with our clutch hand.
Right. Yeah, it's very, very impressive. And speaking of, like, you talked, Scotty, about a wife or girlfriend getting hit. There's also fans that are just like running across the track.
Yeah, it's
people
nuts,
getting
man.
clipped. I think Justin Starling said he saw somebody get hit, and I came in a tight section at one point. And there wasn't much room for one bike, and there was 3 dudes running down the track in front of me. I was like, dude, move.
That's why you need to get to snowshoe. There's a mud hole. It's called Howard's Hole. If you guys get time, search Howard's Hole snowshoe on YouTube or whatever, and it's friggin' crazy. The quad day is worse than us because there's every bit of 1,000 people at this mud hole. And they will stand in the middle of the track and like they'll ride with I've seen people jump on the back of the 4-wheelers and just go for a ride until they fall off. But they take coolers down there, and they're down there from 8 o'clock in the morning, jam packed full of coolers. And luckily, we don't have as many because they're all still hungover. Probably don't see too many. There's only a few, but it's pretty impressive.
It's similar, I guess, to me, what I saw at Ironman Hill. Like, there's hundreds, if not thousands, sometimes of people just standing there and waiting for bikes to go flying. And they all have their cameras out, but they're also ready to grab somebody if they start to fall. So,
yeah.
Hold my beer.
You mentioned testing a couple times this year. How does testing for off-road work, again, compared to what we're used to? Track terrain is very, very different between these different types of the different courses you go to. And I'm sure it's not as easy to go out to a place with factory Yamaha and have a suspension guy there and do all your testing. So how does a testing day work for you?
Yeah. So we use Factory Connection, and so the preseason testing, we normally go to Randy's place in Union, and we just beat in a woods loop kind of deal and test a bunch of stuff, and then we go away and race the southern races in the dirt, and we came back up north and kind of try to get a base setting for the rocks, but it's super hard because the terrain is just so different, and you kind of just got to merge a setting together, like a dirt, a rock setting that you think is gonna be good, but the thing you got to watch for is it may feel good at the test track when you're sprinting for 10, 15 minutes, but you also got to set it up that thing's got to last 3 hours. And if it's feeling stiff at the test track, it's sure going to feel pretty horrible at that last 3-hour mark when you're tired and your body's fatigued.
Yeah. Hour 3, it would be a beating for sure. That makes sense. Do you kind of have a time frame in your head where you go, okay, first couple laps, I'm sprinting, then I'm going to have a pace down lap, and at the end, do you kind of time it out where you have times you push, or is it course dependent, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, normally we stick together in a big train until the gas stop. I think the gas stop, everyone's kind of chill for the first hour and a half, and then once you get to the gas stop, you figure out who you're with, and then it's like, all right, who's going to the front, and that's normally when the pack breaks away and you start seeing them split apart. And normally after the gas stop is when I start going for it and sprinting away or going with someone or trying to get away from the pack.
Well, it seemed to work this year.
Yeah, I tried to.
Yeah, I've always been interested in how you guys plan those, because it seems like most of the people are pretty respectful and get out of the way, but like that aspect of that, you guys are going that fast, and then you could come around to somebody that's not as experienced and just in the way. It's a whole nother factor that you guys have to think about.
Yeah, definitely. And then you get times. I mean, I think it was the last race. I led all day basically, other than about 2 miles. But the kid who was in second was Gus Riordan, who was second to me in the championship. But we got the fuel, we got the gas stop, and I was like, all right, I'm going for it. I'm going to see if I can break him. And I sprinted away, and I pulled 15 seconds or so and came around, and there was lap riders down, and I had to, like, make a new line. And, like, I lost it all and looked back, and he was right on my wheel. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And then, he followed me right until the finish, and I couldn't break him.
Yeah, it does seem to me like lappers. I mean, I was a lapper constantly at these races, but it does seem like guys are pretty good about getting out of the way. You give them a little rev, and they move over generally. The wild boar one was a lot harder. It was so much tighter. It was hard to get out of the way. I remember that. But Ironman, there's so much room. Guys were good about moving.
Yeah, definitely. You know, most people are good. You get those mud races where there's big mud holes and it's kind of harder, but generally they're good and they can hear you coming, you know, especially if you're in a group of people, they can hear you coming. But yeah, that last, and then you get to the last lap's always a suffer, you know, it's all comes down to how mentally strong you want to be. And that was one of my biggest things. You know, I could be the fastest guy for 2 hours, but that last hour is all, how much do you want to suffer and how much do you really want to do this? And yeah, it's definitely long days. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but that's your job and you got to suffer it out.
Yeah. So when you are leading a XC2 race, you know, the fact that you guys do have the overall championship that we talked about, are you trying to pace the guy behind you? Like, is that where the pit board and stuff is telling you? Or are you like, man, let me just catch as many XC1 guys as I can?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of races this year where I would be, so we start a minute behind XC1. And there was a few races I would catch right up into the middle pack of XC1 guys. And on adjusted time, I would be leading the overall. But no one's ever won an overall from XC2. It's never, ever been done. And, I mean, we can hang with those XC1 guys for most race, but there's something in it. I don't know what it is. I don't think anyone's figured it out yet, but they always seem to pull away at the end of the race. So normally, I mean, the goal is obviously to win XC2, and it's always cool to be in the overall, you know, up there with those guys, but my goal was always the XC2 win.
Yeah. Something that else, going back to testing and training that you guys do is you race other series sometimes, like the U.S. Sprint Enduro Series. That's a big one, and I'm sure that helps you stay in shape. And how did you finish in that series this year? I feel like you had some good rides, but I couldn't find all the results.
Yeah, so this year I actually did the National Enduro Series, the NPG, which I won. I've already won the Pro 2 championship in that, which we have one more round this weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, no, those are good. Those are a one-day format. Those are really good for being able to read trail quick because we do 6 tests a day. And the difference between National Enduro and Sprint Enduro is the sprints, you're allowed to bike the track, and it's only 2 tests. And you can bike the track the day before as many times as you want, where National Enduro is one-day format, 6 tests, a new test every time, and you're not allowed to look at it.
Oh, wow. That's a big difference. That's interesting.
Yeah. And you're going off of rows. So, like, say it was me and you racing, like it goes off previous round results, but, like, I would start on row 1, you would start on row 2, a minute behind me, and so forth and so forth. So, you're racing the clock, but you are racing other people, but you're by yourself.
Yeah, it's based. Yeah, Scotty and I actually did a local enduro here in Texas. That it's kind of the same idea. I think it had 4 tests. Scotty,
I got
Scotty
one.
loaded my bike up. He borrowed my bike, and I came back from test 2, and my bike was in the back of my truck, and he was gone. But yeah,
I hadn't rode in like 9 months, and I went out there to try to do one of those because it was a chance to ride. And yeah, it did not go well.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
No, they're good for that kind of stuff, like being able to read trail well and learn that stuff. But I'm actually going back to the Sprint Series next year.
Okay. Just a couple more things for you before we let you go. I want to talk about your teammate, Rachael Archer. She's coming up next, and I kind of am curious why the women do the 2-hour morning race and I want to get her thoughts on it, but as good as she is, and I know there's a lot more diversity in that class from the top level to the bottom, but I feel almost like she should be racing the 3-hour the afternoon race.
Yeah, I know. I know when we had our GNCC meeting at the end of last year, they talked about that, and the girls were all about it, but it takes a lot away from this pro women's class where half of them want to race 2 hours and half of them want to race 3 hours. And this fact was, if they were to race with us, and they talked about racing with us and cutting them out at 2 hours. But the thing with doing that is they would lose all their TV time because they would just finish the race and go off while we're still racing for another hour. So I think they do them at the 10 o'clock race. So it's like, this is the women's pro race, and they get not that they're live on TV, but they get a lot of coverage just for themselves is what I think it is, really.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not 100% sure. There may be more to it, but I think that's got a lot to do with it.
I'm definitely going to ask what she thinks about it. Again, like I know the level of like her level compared to who finished last in the women's is probably a lot more drastic than in the XC2 or XC1 classes. But
yeah,
dude, she passed me so fast, Liam. Like lap 3, yeah. I knew she had to be coming, and I only got 3 laps in my 2 hours. Don't make fun of me. But I kept looking back. It's like, she's got to be coming anytime now. And there was a section that I could see pretty far back, and she wasn't there. And I turned to look ahead, and I would say it felt like half a second, she was there. I was like, well, where the hell did she even come from?
Yeah.
And she was gone before I could even almost register that she went by. It's pretty embarrassing.
No, she's pretty badass. And that's the thing, like the top 5 of those girls would probably be perfectly fine being in the 3-hour race with us. But if you're trying to gain more women's riders into the series, throwing them into a 3-hour race with us and us lapping them would probably turn them away rather than them being in an amateur race by themselves kind of deal is more appealing, I believe.
Okay.
How do you think she would do in the 2-stroke, that like the XC?
I was gonna say, how would she do in
or
the XC2? Like, has a woman ever raced XC2?
I don't know that they've ever raced an XC2, but I don't know where she I couldn't tell you where she would stack up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say she wouldn't be in the top 10. I wouldn't think. In the XC2 class. I
didn't look at the lap times. I meant to do that to kind of see where. And of course, you still add another hour, and that would make a difference. But yeah, I don't know. I have to. At my uneducated viewpoint, is she'd be pretty good.
Yeah, no, and she would be definitely for sure, and she would be one of them that could probably suffer it out for 3 hours.
Yeah, she seems like
fine.
Okay, 2 more questions. I actually just added one in my head. I got the random question that I texted you, but this one, what do we got to do with our boy Zacho? He has had the worst year, and I feel so bad for him. I love that guy, and nothing has went his way.
I know. I feel super bad for him too. It was he's helped me a lot too. You know, this summer I've never been in a championship position like this before, and I sat all summer with the points leading the points by 2 points. And we come back after break, and the guy who was second in the championship, Rui Barbosa, snapped his Achilles. Same thing Eli did. So he was out. So then my lead went from 2 to 13, and I was still stressing. And we get to the first race back out the summer, and the kid's second, and he beat me. So I'm down to, I think I went down to, I want to say 12. And I think he could tell, like, we talk a little bit, and I think he could tell how I was, like, talking about things. I was stressed out. Well, he texts me. He goes, try be in a position where you got one race, 1 point, like $750,000 on the line. I think he's talking about Vegas Supercross.
Sure.
I was like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And, you know, things like that, he helped me a lot with getting through this and the preseason, grinding it out with him. The guy loves to suffer, and I hated to see it for him get injured at the start of the season. And yeah, just, I don't know. It's tough, you know, XC2, XC1 is no joke. You know, we're all going fast, and it takes a lot to adapt. You know, we've been riding these tracks. The tracks stay the same every year. They just flip the arrows from one side of the tree to the other, really. So we have a pretty good idea on where we're going and the lay of the land and just everything like that. So it's a lot for him, and yeah, I hate it for him. He's a great dude, and hopefully next year it comes easier.
Yeah, I hope he comes back. I know he has another year on his deal, and I think he wants to keep racing, so I hope he does, because I definitely I believe in him as a person, and I want to see him be successful. Let's close this out with this off-moto topic question that I sent you. If you could have a conversation with any two people, live or dead, who would they be and why?
The one person is actually passed away would be my dad's dad, so my granddad. He was always into racing and always chased it around with me, and he died when I want to say 17 or so. So he never really seen. I've been in America since I was 21, so it'd be interesting to see what he thought of it now and see how far I've come now.
I like that.
And then I always looked up to James Stewart when I was a kid. So I've never actually seen or met James. I've met a lot of the other ones, but yeah.
That's good. Those are good answers. I didn't expect. I kind of had a feeling you might go with like a family member. So I don't know why, but I felt that. And then the James Stewart one. I wouldn't have expected that, Scotty. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean he's evaded a lot of people over the years. So
I've talked to him briefly twice, but like I guarantee he wouldn't remember who the hell I was. So
yeah, I mean I think he's just cool. Like he always did something wild. I mean, I like to go a bunch of podcasts, the Pulp and everything else, just because I have so much drive time and everyone talks. I think Hayden's the next kind of kid coming to do crazy stuff. I mean, I looked at Iron Man this weekend at the jump he was doing.
Yeah, did you go? You went and looked at it?
What was even going through your head to think of that?
Dude, I don't know.
What's crazy is he was sick during that weekend too.
Yeah, like that's just ridiculous. And I think James was the same way. Like the Daytona wall, he was jumping and stupid shit like that.
Just they see things differently. But I kind of almost feel that way with you guys when I go out there and ride in the woods and I see how fast you go through them. Like that's death defying. Like that's almost insane how fast you go through some of those sections. And so
that's what Justin Starling was saying. I met him once. He probably didn't remember, but this year at Jack Chambers' place, he was riding SX and we were riding the turn track. And it was funny to see him come from Supercross and race that. And I was watching him ride Supercross, like skimming the whoops, and I'm like, there ain't no freaking way I'm doing that. And
exactly.
Like, I don't know how you guys go through those trees so fast. It's like one thing second nature to me and one second nature to him.
Yeah, it's all perspective and what you're comfortable with, I guess.
Right, exactly.
Well, Liam, man, thank you for so much of your time tonight. Congratulations on a fantastic year, and thank you from me for your just spending some time talking to me and kind of hanging out. It was a lot of fun being with that team this weekend for the second time this year, and congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Anytime. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye. All
right. That's Liam Draper. He's brought to you by FXR tonight. We're going to roll into Rachael Archer here in just a minute.
Yep.
If you were given an opportunity to go do one of those GNCCs, would you do it, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully I'm not as fat and out of shape as I am right now because I haven't been riding. But, I would do one. I would like to go hang out at one, too, because those guys are fun. I've had some buddies growing up that did that, and his dad was like expert level, and he was good, and I rode with him a couple of times, and the Woods guys are freaks, man.
No, it's nuts. It's nuts. And our next guest is insanely talented. We're gonna get her on in just a second. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew have been providing the best seat covers and foam in the industry for years. For 2023, they have added Kawasaki to their complete seat lineup, as well as the color teal to the gripper material options available. Also new for 2023 are the options for your e-bikes. They have complete seats for the Talari and Super 73 and covers for the Segway and Sur-Ron. And they have options for the Honda, KTM, and Husqvarna electric bikes. So visit gutsracing.com. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us the 2023 and the 2022 GNCC WXC champion, Rachael Archer. What's up, Rachael?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Glad to have you on. We just got off the phone with your teammate, Liam. Double championships this year for AmPro.
Yep. Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, this second one, like last year, I remember I was at Ironman last year, and that was a very, very tight points battle that you wrapped up, I think, in that final round. This one you wrapped up a week early, 9 wins, I believe, 7 podiums, never off the podium. You're something special, Rachael. You're very, very talented.
I don't know about that. I've always worked hard, that's for sure.
So, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, like Liam, you grew up in New Zealand, and first of all, you have to understand that my co-host Scotty and I are not super knowledgeable about off-road riding. So If we sound like idiots, we
Or New
apologize.
Zealand.
Yeah. But what was the scene like? How did you get involved with racing living in New Zealand?
Well, my dad, Kevin Archer, he raced professionally back home in New Zealand when before I was born. He was racing Hondas, and he was always national champ or runner up for quite a few years, and then got together with my mom and they had me, and then he was on Suzuki's racing for them up until I was about 4, I think, and then he took a break from racing and got me a bike when I was 3, and we have a 2,000 acre cattle farm, so I was always ripping around there and shifting cattle and stuff around the farm, so always riding up and down hills and just having fun. And then I decided I wanted to start racing when I was 10, so he started getting back into it, and by the time I was 13 I had a few national championships and had dreams to move to the States and start racing GNCC, so that's what I focused on like my whole high school career basically.
Yeah,
and then moved here when I was 17.
We asked Liam that same thing. So it is possible to earn a living racing in New Zealand, but it does seem like coming to America is the end goal for the best of the best.
Yeah, it's well, you can't make a living as a woman racing, that's for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, you definitely have to go abroad. Even like all the pros back home, they all have full-time jobs and just race on the weekends.
How difficult was it to make the move? You said 17 you made the move to the US?
Yeah, I was 17. It was 2019 was the year.
So you're 17 years old. Like, does your mom come with you? Do you come over here and you got to figure it out as an adult, a young adult, basically? How does that work?
So I actually had to have a form signed by my parents to allow me to even sign up to race GNCC, because I didn't have like a legal guardian to sign for me or anything. So
Right.
I had a dispensation card, and everyone at GNCC knew who I was, obviously. But even the first time I came over here when I was 16, or I was actually 15 with my parents, I actually had to get a letter from AMA and a dispensation because I wasn't even old enough to race in the pro class. So the first time I raced in WXC, I was 15 and I got 4th place at Florida.
Wow. Oh, that Wild Boar?
Yeah.
I hate that place.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, that's the other one I did with you guys, and I don't know if you remember, but I felt like I almost died. Like literally I thought I was going to die when I was out there because I was so dehydrated, and then I just fell on the floor when we got back to the rig and wanted to die. I hated that one. Yeah, so but when you come over, do you already have a deal lined up with like somebody to ride for, places to stay? You have to have some kind of plan, I assume.
So I grew up racing when Paul Whibley was like big time.
Okay.
And when he was younger, he used to battle with my dad back home. So I always knew Paul and he was a big fan of my dad. So once I got a bit older, Dad would send me down there to stay with Paul and I would train with him, and even Liam would come down as well. And so he got me contacts with Randy at Ampro, and it all basically fell in place from there. And Randy offered me like an amateur ride in 2019. So that's when I moved over here, and they tested me out basically. Yeah. I got 4th that year in the championship and then kept getting better every year. And by 2020, I was battling with Becca for the championship when I was 18. And then 3 years later, we have 2 championships.
That's pretty impressive, Scotty. I was telling my co-host earlier, I was kind of describing my day, and like you probably don't remember passing me on the third lap. It would be your 4th lap. But Rachel, I going into my 3rd lap, I knew you had to be coming at some point, and I just kept looking back, and I kept looking back, and like nothing. Right, and then there was some section that was pretty decent little straightaway where I could see behind me, and I kept looking, and there was nothing. I turned forward, and then you went blowing by. Like, I don't even know where the hell you came from. It was so fast. It was really embarrassing. I don't expect to be good, but God, you're fast. Yeah. So I came off the track, Scotty. She's celebrating.
Yeah.
Right? Because she had already wrapped up the championship, but she's celebrating her win. I came off, and I was just like, thank you for being so fast, because I didn't have to do an extra lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Scotty.
Well, so, that's kind of one thing I wanted to ask you about is when you start lapping people, have you ever had an experience where once the guy realizes that, oh, it's the WXC girl, do they treat it any different? Do they still get out of your way respectfully, or do they like, oh, well, no, I'm not going to let this chick pass me? Is it anything like that?
Yeah, all the time. It depends who it is. Like, you'll get guys that don't even realize it's a girl. Like, 2020, I think it was, in Florida, we had a 4-way battle going. It was me, Taylor Jones, Mackenzie Tricker, and Becca Sheets. And we were in our final lap, and I was in third, and I had to pit. So I pulled into pit and dropped back to fourth. I'm trying to catch the top 3 girls. And a lapper, like, I'm going down a straightaway, and in like 4th gear, wide open, this guy just like appears out of the bushes halfway down the straightaway, and I had nowhere to go. I T-boned him, and his bike was underneath mine, and I went to get my bike up, and I'm trying to get going, and next thing, I feel someone grab the scruff of my neck, and he starts punching me in the helmet.
Oh, wow.
What the hell? Like, I didn't even really register what was happening. And then another lap rider stopped and like pulled him off me before he could punch me again. But that was pretty crazy. That guy ended up getting banned from GNCC, but I guess he didn't even know that I was a chick, or I'm not sure.
That blows me away, because
crazy.
Everybody seems, I was telling Scott, like, everybody that I've encountered in these off-road races seems so nice and friendly, and like, people got out of my way, and I absolutely got out of everybody's way that was faster than me. That blows me away. I wouldn't have expected that. But I guess when you have almost 3,000 entries,
there's going to be one
a-hole.
One turd in the punch bowl, yeah.
But yeah, you get, like, in the weekend, I had a few people try and race me, and they like hear you come up beside them, and then they look over and realize who you are, and they back off.
Yeah. When you passed me on that, your 4th lap, your final lap, there was somebody right on your tail, though. Was that another girl, or was that somebody in a different class, or do you even know?
Was it a Husky?
Yes, it was.
That was Andrew DeLong.
Okay, so that's Craig's brother, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we had a battle going. I passed him going up the hill climb, and then he passed me back. We probably went back and forth maybe 6 times, but yeah, it was real good fun battling with him.
Yeah, because like I said, when you blew by, another one was right behind you. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, and that's, you don't, like, at least for me, I don't want to get any of these guys' way. Even the guys in my class that were clearly so much faster, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and go, man. I just want to finish. So,
well, I was gonna ask kind of off of that too. So, you came from the off-road scene in New Zealand, and then here, like, there's guys like that we just had the story about, and then that's the GNCC crew is there. We'll just say since we're on broadcast, that we'll just say a loose program is how we'll define it.
There are some loose programs out there for sure.
My question is what is
Stu Baylor's pretty loose program?
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, exactly. Is there going to be is there any kind of comparison to how the vibe is in New Zealand compared to here? Is all kind of one the same, or is is it different? How would you describe it?
Well, if you call GNCC a loose program in America, I'd hate for you to see what it looks like in NZ, because people show up with dirty bikes and like easy ups, and everything's on the back of a pickup truck.
They're just making it happen, huh?
And everyone knows who my mom is because she feeds everyone.
Oh, your mom.
Liam used to come into our easy up tent and steal all the pie and cake and everything that Mom would make.
I wish we'd had you on before him. I could have asked him about that. That's great. To stick with the topic of you being, a women's rider, I asked Liam this thought. I find it kind of interesting that you race in the morning with us in the 2-hour race when I feel like clearly your ability should be in the afternoon 3-hour race? But he kind of describes, some of the girls in your class are a much different level and there's different thoughts on it. But how do you feel? Would you rather race in the afternoon and do 3 hours? And past that question, would you ever consider racing XC2? And has there been a woman that's done that?
She's done it. You did something, didn't you? I saw on your Instagram.
I raced a local race
in
the pro class, but I split my foot open. That was like 5 weeks ago.
Oh.
So I didn't actually finish. But my opinion on the GNCC thing, honestly, I think they would be better off to cut the 3 hour to 2 hours and stick us in with all the pros. They would get better media coverage, and like no one really wants to watch a 3 hour race.
I can't argue that.
They would probably have more viewers, and just it would be able to divide the morning race a little better. Like how they do it at Ironman works really well, but I still think the women should be in with all the pros, just because you get the same fan base and everything.
Yep. Do you feel has there ever been a woman that raced XC2 like competitively and for the whole season?
No. Taylor Jones raced XC3 in 2019, I think it was, or 2018. And I talked about doing that this year, but it never went through. But yeah, XC2, I think I would probably be more towards the back of the pack in XC2. I don't think I would be as far up as some people think, but it would definitely be a cool experience.
Do you have any kind of, motocross experience or any aspirations? I know that there's been rumors of them bringing the motocross women's championship back. Would you have any interest in doing a couple of those? How do you feel about closed circuit racing?
Yeah, I actually have plans to go to Loretta's next year. Obviously, I'm definitely not as good at moto as I am at woods racing, but I'm always looking for things to work on, and that's been a big push for me this year, is working on my sprint speed and air time and all that stuff. So, yeah, definitely doing more moto has helped me a lot this year for sure.
Yes.
I just think it's easier I think it'd be easier for cross country people to go to moto than moto people to go to cross country.
We saw Caleb Russell do it.
Sure.
Yeah, he ripped.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Just the reading lines and stuff when you switch over to woods is a massive change from moto. Like the lines are so different. It's like something you kind of grow up learning. Like I've raced woods my whole life, so always being around Dad and riding with Dad and better riders all the time, like you just learn how to read trail. But moto guys switching over to woods, that's always like one of their biggest hurdles.
Yeah, I can see that. And for you, you're in shape. Anybody that can do a 2-hour race and you're standing so much, like you said, kind of reading the trails, and maybe they don't know how to ride whoops, but there's some whoops, like choppy stuff on these tracks. Scotty, and she has that. I think she definitely would have the skill set to be pretty good at it. And speaking of training, I was kind of going through your Instagram. It looks like you train at JY Training. Can you talk about that place? And it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I've trained with Joel Youngkins for 2 seasons now, so I've had my fair share of trainers, and me and him make a good team, and we've earned 3 championships now. But I actually do all my stuff through him online. So he's in Ohio and I'm in South Carolina, so everything's online. I just check everything off on the app. We use a True Coach app, and we text back and forth, FaceTime, all that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a person that has to be told to get my training done. I know some people need to be held accountable, but I'm pretty self-aware of all that stuff, so I don't really need too much of a nudge when it comes to that. But he's really good for me, and we have a really good program.
Okay. As far as on the bike stuff, how much do you ride during the week between events? I know the GNCC series is spread out, and you mentioned 3 championships because you also won the 2023 Women's Pro U.S. Sprint Enduro Championship. Those races are usually kind of in between GNCCs, but in between during the week, do you ride 2 days a week or does it vary?
It varies. Just depends. Like if I'm on the road traveling, this year I've tried to get to the area where the race is going to be earlier in the week and do a bit of riding. That's a big thing that Stu has done this year. So I've tried to follow along and tag along wherever he's riding. So that definitely helps with like tire and suspension setup. But during the season, I like to ride like 2 or 3 times a week, nothing crazy, because it's easy to overdo it, especially when you have a 2-hour race on Sunday.
Yeah.
And all the driving and stuff we do, it's pretty hectic. But in the off season, I like to ride 4 to 5 days a week, and then like 4 or 5 gym workouts and mountain biking and cycling and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you just said that. I didn't think about that, Scotty. So she's a 2-time champion, 3 times if you count U.S. Sprint Enduro. Mm-hmm. Liam, just won a championship. But, yeah, they're driving to these races where in Supercross and motocross that we cover, those guys are flying in. She's having to drive across the country weekend to weekend. So, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Adds, downtime and takes away from training. And, hell, just being in a car for that long kind of wears you out. So it's a whole different kind of process. And we were talking, I asked Liam about this, and I've talked to Ricky in the past and Craig Long. And, yeah, it's really unfortunate with the turnout, the number of people that come to these events and how popular they are with the off-road community, that the coverage for your sport and the money is not anywhere near where I feel like it should be for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely getting better, but GNCC is kind of stuck in a spiral. They just keep doing the same thing year in, year out. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think they support their pros the way they should. Like, I still pay a gate fee every weekend to get in, even though I'm one of the people putting on the show.
Just so you know that happens. Just so you know that happens in Supercross and motocross too. They have each rider. Eli Tomac pays an entry fee. I mean, Kawasaki pays or Yamaha pays it for him, but there is an entry fee, and it is ridiculous. Yeah, you are the show.
Well, I pay an entry fee as well. Just the gate fee to get in to GNCC.
Oh my God, yeah, that's you shouldn't be paying either one of those. I agree. You shouldn't be paying either one of those, but yeah, I definitely think you as athletes in off-road deserve more coverage and more respect than what maybe we give you sometimes in the media. And yeah, I'm going to start having more off-road guys on the show and off-road riders because I'm very impressed with it. And I'm kind of falling in love with, I can't wait to do another one. Your team manager, Randy Hawkins, said, hey, anytime you want to do one, we'll have a bike for you. And I definitely want to hit a few more next year. Not snowshoe, not that one. What race would you suggest that I come do that's not too brutal? I like the flowy stuff. Like Ironman was cool.
Yeah, Big Buck's always good if the weather's good. It's like a clay-based track, so it gets pretty rutted up. It's probably good for moto guys. Buckwheat's a really fun one. It has a bit of everything, like grass track and fast flowy woods, and then it's got a few little technical sections. That's always fun. And Camp Coca, it's more of like a sand-based dirt track. Gets pretty rough, but it's still pretty fast and flowy, and there's nothing too difficult.
I'm definitely going to pick one of those next year and try to come to. I got to get Vital to pay for it, but yeah, I want to do one for sure. A couple more questions before we let you go. Are there any other events that you would ever like to do? Like, would you want to do a desert race, like a works race or an Erzberg or anything like that? Anything that kind of like is a bucket list?
Yeah, growing up, my dad went to Romaniacs like every year from the time I was 10 till now. Actually, he went this year. So I'd love to have a go at that, just for fun, no expectation or anything. And then I've always wanted to have a go at like Dakar or some desert racing. I did the Hattard desert race in Aussie in 2018, and I got second to Megan Rutledge in the women's class, and then I carried on to do the full 4 hours and ended up like 62nd, I think, and overall out of like 400 riders. So that was pretty cool. I'd love to do that one again as well.
The Romaniacs one, that's what it's called, right? Romaniacs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
That looks disgusting. I've seen footage of that. The fact that you even want to do that, you're mental.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like addictive.
I can see that. Once you're good at it, I guess it's kind of like, oh, that's so challenging. Like to me, it's still a little scary. Some of that, even like Ironman Hill, I was telling Scotty, Rachel, I didn't go up that hill one time this weekend. I tried the first lap.
Way.
Dude, I tried the first lap.
Man.
It's fine. I'm ready for the being made fun of, Scotty. It's fine. The first lap, I was behind two guys. The guy at the top didn't make it. The guy behind him hit him and fell. And then I had to stop and turn around. I was like, screw it, I'm going around. And every lap I came to it, there was just pileups everywhere. And I was like, the hell with it. I'm just going around. Look, Rachel, I didn't finish last year. I crashed. And because of what I do, I got made fun of big time. Everybody was calling me Quit Side because I quit because my nickname's Dark Side. But anyway, so I was like, all I cared about was finishing. Now that I'm home, I really regret not going up that hill, which I did it last year. But I am a little bit scared of it, if I'm being honest. It's gnarly.
Yeah, it does look intimidating, but it's honestly way easier than it looks.
If there's nobody else on the hill, then yeah, it's fine. But when there's guys like right up your ass trying to go behind you, and there's guys in front of you, it was nerve-wracking to me.
Yeah, it is always easier when you have someone pointing you lines.
Oh, well, speaking of that, there were people pointing the lines. I was like, yes, to hell with you. I'm still going around. Last year, some guy was pointing. He was like, go right there. That's a good spot. But if you remember, last year was super dusty.
Yeah.
And there was
I know.
Yeah, and there was a glare, and I was like, I can't even see where the hell you're pointing. I'm not going there. I don't know what's there. So anyway, you can make fun of me. That's fine.
They should just use their beer to water the
the
course.
They got plenty of that. All right, let's close this thing out with the non-moto question I texted you. Just if you could pick two people, alive or dead, to have a conversation with, who would they be and why?
Steve Irwin.
Okay.
And
all right.
Joe Rogan.
Oh, I like the Rogan one. Okay. Why Steve Irwin?
He's just like so fascinating. Like the way he lived his life was like really unique, and I don't know, he just like thrived off adrenaline rush, and like the way he died was sad, but it was like really fitting, and I just love to like pick his brain.
All right. What would you ask Rogan?
I don't really know what I would ask him, honestly. I just would like to have a conversation with him. He's like so knowledgeable and just knows a lot about everything, and I don't know.
Have you ever listened to his comedy? Like he's got a couple comedy albums.
Yeah, I listen to him weekly.
Oh,
he's great on long car rides.
Yeah, he cracks me up. So the there's one about Scotty where like, how did the pyramids get made? And he's like, I think we've all done this before. Like there was a civilization. You'd have to get into it, but the whole
I've seen some of it.
I love it. Joe's one of my favorite comedians. So yeah, those are good picks. Rachel, I really appreciate that. I appreciate your time. Rachael Archer tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. Congratulations on your third championship, 2 GNCCs back to back. It's really, really badass and just a lot of fun getting to watch you ride this weekend.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing this. And yeah, I'm sure I'll see you at a GNCC next year.
All right. Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. That's Rachael Archer, 2-time WXC champion. She's a badass.
Yeah. She seemed pretty. The New Zealand vibe's cool, man. They're just down to earth, chill, and she's like, and she's just kind of going about her thing. It's cool.
Dude, yeah, she's super cool. I got the vibe like during the weekend she was. I don't know if it was just shy or just like when I would try to talk to her and I was trying to line up an interview there, and she was like, "Sure, no problem," but it kind of felt like she wasn't super
she just
comfortable.
didn't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, that might be it. Maybe she's creeped out. That could very well be the case.
Creep side.
What a dick.
Yeah, man. I know. Isn't that crazy? Like that you have to get somebody would talk to you like that. Isn't that just nuts?
I was going to say, I'm just glad that she came on because I didn't feel like she was super comfortable doing it, but
yeah, I see what you're saying. It was kind of hard to tell if she was what do they call it? DGAF, or if she just was kind of nervous at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know which one it was.
Two amazing off-road riders on the show so far tonight. We've got another one on the line. He's going to be brought to you tonight by WUSA, which is your source for all things wheels. If you're looking for a complete set of wheels for your bike, we have something for every budget. If you want to use the same wheels used by Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, Malcolm Stewart, Christian Craig, Chad Reed, and Jeremy McGrath, just to name a few, we have what you need. So visit WUSA, and you can use promo code MotoXpod to save. Tonight, WUSA brings us the infamous, the legendary Stu Baylor. What's up, Stu?
Not too much. Just just still trying to get all the chaos from the season organized.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of chaos around you because of your personality. I saw you Friday night up on stage with the band, and your fans are nuts. I feel like there's a lot of chaos besides, just away from the racing. There's a lot of chaos around you.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I march to the beat of my own drum for sure, and you know, I do things differently, and you know, it suits my style, and I've been on both ends of it. I rode for Factory KTM, and man, I found that I have to enjoy racing, and that's what keeps me in the parking lot. But you know, that and running a team and training facility and clothing brand, a hair salon with my wife and boutique there, where we stay pretty busy. It's never ending.
Yeah, I knew about the team ownership and the training facility. I did not know about the hair salon or the clothing brand. So I'm going to ask you about that.
I trim hair on Mondays.
Are we being serious or are you joking?
No.
Okay.
You don't want to.
Because I don't know how I feel about you cutting my hair.
Yeah.
You don't want. Obviously, I haven't even cut my own hair in quite a while.
Yeah. I figured somebody comes and sits in your chair and you're like, hey, dude, I don't know what you're going to get. You get what you get.
Yeah.
I could probably do a mean mullet. I think I could specialize there.
Listen, second overall in the series in XC1, a really great season. Second at Ironman, 2 wins, 7 podiums, I believe. A really great season. You were 11 down, or maybe, I think in the end you were 11 down. I don't remember what it was going into Ironman.
Yeah, it was 23 going into Ironman, but just bad luck. You know, we had had our fair share of a rough road this year, and things that just don't happen. So part of it. So you talked about doing things your own way, and you have your own team. It's Team Telly Energy Racing, correct? That's your team? Yep. Rocky Mountain Telly KTM.
Okay.
Yep.
How does that work in off-road? Is that all your money? Rocky Mountain obviously puts in some money, and then you just kind of pick the riders you want?
Yeah, so we and next year is going to be a whole lot different, a whole lot bigger. This year was kind of thrown together a little bit late. Basically, I was still negotiating rides when I honestly said, "Screw this! Like, I've had enough going back and forth. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it on my own terms." And it's something that I had talked about for a long time. And Todd Ely, so the T Ely in the name. We had a long discussion, and it kind of gave me the out where he was like, "Hey, let's just do this thing." So, we pulled all the companies. I pulled every contact that I've made since I was 6 years old and on 2 wheels, or 3 years old and on 2 wheels. I swear I called every one of them. So, I put together the program and started kind of shopping riders, but it was late. Didn't really get all the riders that we wanted. And next year I'm definitely going to add to that roster. And, to me, like, I just felt like I was in a position where as a rider, I was very devalued. And it's kind of like, it's really like 90s motocross and supercross. And it took that one guy, like honestly, that's off-road today. Like if you took a 90s motocross fan to current motocross, they would be like, screw this, we got a bunch of retards in the parking lot, like overpaid. But they would go to a GNCC and they would feel like they could relate. And, the same thing happened in professional bull riding. It's happened in almost all forms of professional sports, the UFC, as far as I say in all forms of professional sports where you are the man, where there's one person, it's you, and you are solely, you are determining what you're doing. And there's always that one that says, I've had enough of listening to the way they want to do it. I'm going to change it. And that was kind of like, I've been saying it for a while, like I'm going to change something here. People are going to remember my name for more than just racing. And starting this team was a lot to do with that. Like, I mean, to me, I am a racer. So what I'll do is what I do will be for the racers.
Dude, I love that. And yeah, you kind of talked about in the past that you have had factory rides and wanting to do it your way. And I would assume with factory KTM in the past, and they probably didn't like the quote unquote, the image of Stu, right? The drink, you're up on the stage Friday night drinking and singing with the band and you flip the bike or any of those things. They probably were trying to kind of hold you back with that, the personality back. And I assume you're just not the type of guy to let that happen. It's not who you are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been said to me. I've heard the same line, maybe paraphrased a little bit differently from time to time, but I've heard the same line multiple times. You are the guy that we want to have because you're what sell bikes. You're the relatable one, but we can't have you. Not like that.
Wow.
Like we're gonna have to change. If you want to do this, we're gonna have to change your social appearance. We're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do that. And I've heard that and I heard that for a long time. And then finally last year, I didn't hear that anymore. Like the teams were calling me. They didn't say anything about, we want to change your appearance. They're looking at numbers. Like they've sat in that parking lot. They've seen my crowd. They've seen my fans. And at the end of the day, you put 10 bikes in front of me and any rider on XC1, and I promise 7 will go in front of me and 3 will go in front of anybody else. Just plain and simple. Like, that's what it's about at the end of the day is sales. And, you know, to sell things, you have to be relatable. It's no different than when you go and buy a car and you run into a dickhead that's a salesman. You're not going to buy from that guy. You know, I want to find a guy. I want to find a guy with my common interests. And I know the interests in that parking lot are outdoors people. You know, you're in a parking lot where people are choosing to spend their time outside. And if you go through the parking lot, at least at GNC season and most motocross, it doesn't matter really where you go. And in our sport, so many people are so like-minded and they're there because they love it. They want to drink beers with their friends, their best friends. Like all of us, usually, like your best friends are in that parking lot. And it's weird. Like you may not talk to each other all off season. And then you go back racing and it's like, yep, that's my boy. Like that's the guy that's in your wedding. And all of them are there for the same reasons. And none of them are wearing button up shirts like these teams are. So to me, tells me they're missing the market. Plain and simple. That's my 2 cents. I may be wrong, but that's
that viewpoint actually tracks for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stu, I couldn't agree more, man. I honestly, the little bit that I have followed GNCC over the years, I've always liked that you've been that guy. You know, it always, to me, when I look at it from outside perspective, I always think that I'm like, he's like the one guy that he could very well be the guy holding the beer and grabbing the hook and pulling the guy up. Like he's like the one guy that made it through, and you're like, you are the man of the people. Like you are the people's guy. So to hear you kind of say that is really cool that you acknowledge that. And I think that you will eventually get to where, now that you're doing your team and everything, I think you're going to get to that goal that you wanted to change the sport. And I think that it's going to grow from it and in the long run. I like what you're doing.
I really hope it does. I mean, we saw, you know, McGrath did it years and years ago. And I think it's kind of the same core reasons. And, you know, if you talk to any rider, it doesn't matter, motocross, supercross, what it is, like you talk to the guys and you hear their true complaints and they're almost all the same. There's just always one that has a little bit louder voice and may drink too much and speak their opinion. And usually that happens to be me.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, with the, if you take back 5 years ago when I don't know how many years it's been since they started doing where they actually cover the whole live broadcast. Like they used to just always be the little 30-minute show. Yeah. So now that they do the whole thing, like that hasn't been that long that they've been doing that, and it seems to have gotten a lot better. Where do you see not only that part of the sport, but, you know, with you having a team, where do you see the sport growing in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think there's going to have to be some major changes like within the sport, but with the major changes that would need to happen for the sport to grow tremendously, it would change the core of GNCC into 3-hour racing. Like, to me, honestly, like, it's going to have to take more of an outdoor national turn to where you've got four different races televised over hour slots over a 4.5, 5 hour show. That's the only way I feel like you can kind of keep everybody engaged. But with that said, that takes away the core of what GNCC is. So, you know, and it may just be a difference in opinion, but I truly feel to televise it, Pro 2 and Pro 1 are going to have to be separated in different races and make it to where, and it's there, like the technology is there. It's just a matter of putting it all together, make it to where you can see the majority of the track. And now with the helmet cameras, you can stream a helmet camera live.
Yep.
I've talked to guys that are into telecommunications, and there are things that they're doing. So they do it at King of Hammers. Like there are these little pods you can put up all throughout the woods and get perfect signal. Now to put that together, like you're looking at millions of dollars. So will that ever happen? Will I be racing to see it? Hell, I don't know, but it would be cool to see. I mean, I think that's a place the sport can go, but the opportunities are there, and I think that the live show has definitely opened a lot more opportunities for us. But too, like, man, the numbers, you just can't argue with GNCC numbers right now. Like, you see motocross kind of taking a dip, like COVID, obviously great year. And then moto kind of started to take a dip. And prior to COVID, moto was kind of the numbers were actually going a little bit backwards. And GNCC is just, you look at like 2000 GNCC versus 2000 moto, like it's unbelievable how far GNCC has come, and just the sheer amount of numbers. And looking in that parking lot too, like, it is obviously you guys are more of a moto based corp where I'm off road. So, you know, we see things completely different, but you guys are looking at, you want some shine, you want some bling, you want to make sure that bike looks good on Saturday.
Yeah.
Where it costs you a couple $100 a week to keep that bike shiny and blingy, where GNCC guy just ripped his header off, just crushed his frame, took a radiator out, subframe, plastics, and a handlebar. He just spent $1,000 to go racing next weekend. He's probably not getting graphics. He's probably not putting FC1 on his stuff, but he just spent a whole lot more money. So, you know, when I'm looking at the industry as a whole, it's like, sometimes it's crazy to see, you know, from a rider's standpoint, like how much less we make knowing how much more business we provide. But the television is a big piece of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we brought that up with Liam and Rachel, who both actually talked very highly of you, by the way. Just that the fact that you guys, well, yeah, they did.
Liam lived with me for 2 years.
Yeah,
so
he told us that
it was going to be a problem.
Yeah, he did. He told us that. But yeah, we were just, you know, again, I'm relatively new to the off-road scene, and I'm starting to fall in love with it after I've done 3 now, the last 2 Ironmans and Wild Boar, and the fact that you guys don't get the coverage, you certainly don't get the pay. And there was, Davey Coombs told me there was 2,800, I think, and 34 unique entries this weekend at Ironman, which Ironman's one of the bigger ones, obviously. And like 15,000, estimated 15,000 people there, which I honestly thought it was way more than that. It looked unbelievable. Yeah, you guys are definitely underappreciated.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, it's tough, like, because right now what's trackable is views. People see numbers, they see views. But the difference in our parking lot, the difference in a pro motocross parking lot, is there are 2,800 racers in my parking lot. And of those 15,000 people, 2,000 or 3,000 of them are fans. The rest of them are off-road enthusiasts that all have dirt bikes. And in a pro motocross scene, it's like there's 70 guys there to race, and everybody's a fan. Some of them, like a lot of people, obviously, to get into racing, like you know somebody that's there to race. But like, man, when I go to a pro national, like you talk to a lot of the crowd, they are genuinely just fans of the sport, which is awesome. Like I'm not knocking that, but they're not the ones spending the money. The guys with the bike and I would say obviously in most pro nationals, like the fans, a lot of them do ride or race, but the difference in our parking lot is majority, like 70% of the people in my parking lot are there to spend money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I met a family. I was literally trying to get some food. What was I trying? I don't even remember what I was trying to get. Some kind of donuts or something. And the guy behind me had it seemed like 12 kids and his wife. And like the place only took cash. So I was $2 short of cash. And the guy's like, hey, here's a couple bucks. And I was like, oh, thanks. Then his kids just start talking to me. Hey, I just won this class. And his daughter's like, oh, I won this class. And his other kid's like, yeah, I got third. Every kid raced. The dad raced. I think the mom raced. Yeah. The whole family is part of it. And it's just, it's very different. I agree with what you say, especially at Supercross. There are people that just go because it's the thing to do that night in town, as opposed to nobody's just driving out to Ironman or Wild Boar just because there's nothing else to do that weekend. They're there because they, for the most part, either they know somebody riding or they are all in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to aim to the middle of nowhere and drive 2 hours past the last gas station to find a GNCC parking lot unless you really like dirt bikes.
No.
Yeah.
No, you've talked a few times about your demographic and the support from your fans. And I looked at your Instagram. You have 117,000 followers, which was way, way more than I looked at Rachel's and Liam's. It's like, yeah, you are kind of the face of the sport, and the sport like GNCC really should look at that and go, hey, we could utilize this. Like, this is clearly what the people want.
Yeah, they still post my loop outs.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
They banned me from them, but they still get posted. So, yeah.
Well, that's just like in Supercross. They don't want you
banned and fined.
Yeah, they don't want you to take the guy out in Supercross, but they're going to certainly play it at the start of the show.
Yeah, yeah. I really genuinely think like there's a buddy of mine was talking about a arena cross that happened a while back, and one of the promoters said, if you guys are going to fight, do it on the field so that everybody sees it. If you do it back in the pits, you're getting thrown out of here. Like,
I've heard that. Yes.
That's what we want to see. Like that's the. I mean, honestly, like it's all joking aside. Like, it is a show. Like, there is definitely a lot of show to it. And racing is fun, and it's meant to be fun. So that's what I try to do. I try to have fun with it, but at the same time, there's a bit of business. You know, there's this old style of, and it's kind of from the core group of people that lived through I want to say like the late 90s, early 2000s Honda generation, where Honda pretty much said no fun, dirt bikes are business only.
Oh yeah.
And that just stuck. Like it kind of stuck, and it, to me, like that ruins the sport. It ruins the opportunity for the sport to grow. Like, it is not meant to be, yes, at my level, it is a job, 100%. But that parking lot is not meant to be a job for everybody there. You're not supposed to grow up with the mentality of, I can't say the things that I want to say. If my bike breaks, I have to say what is told for me to say. Like, that's kind of, it just genuinely takes away from the sport that we all started because we loved. And, you know, that's where I think when they look at, hey, can we use this guy as the face of the sport a little bit more? They also look back and think, would Honda 1990 approve of this?
I think you're right. I see your point, and it's kind of a bummer, and especially from that side. Like, I see Supercross and the business side of it, but man, GNCC's the roots, dude. I just don't know. I think they're missing the boat. Sorry, Scotty, I interrupted you.
Oh no, you're good. Hey, so with the way that this season went, and what was there, seven different winners, I think?
Well, no, there's more. I think there's 7 in the first 7 rounds. If
I'm
not
okay.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Eight different winners. So obviously it was kind of, it was very competitive. And I think that's another thing that was good for the sport, especially to see you guys in a tight battle like that. But what I wanted to ask you about was to see what the mental process that you're at when you're battling with those guys, especially for a podium or a win. And, it's that 2.5 hour, 2 hour, 45-minute mark. And you guys are just in a deep battle that's been going on. Like, just mentally kind of take us through that process.
It's tough, and it's rider by rider. It takes a long time it took me a long time. Maybe I'm a slow learner. It took me a long time to learn my competition and learn where I can make my moves. It also takes a long time to know how to lead and keep them from making those moves. So this weekend, for example, I knew that I was going to have to get aggressive with a mistake from a lapper from Josh Strang, because he's been doing it so damn long. He knows me. He knows my game. I know his. Like, it was going to take a mistake. I saw the mistake. I took the opportunity. I made my pass, and not 2 miles later, like, everybody thought that there was no battling because cameras missed it. And that's the tough part about GNCC. Like, 5 guys were within 5 seconds. Believe me, there was some passing and some bumping going on. And up until 2 hours, there was like 10 guys within 10 seconds. There was definitely some made. I like completely messed up my shoulder hitting Ben Kelly so hard. It was unintentional, just a mistake from a lapper that got him squirrely, and he shot over and just, I smoked him. But when you're racing that fast and that close, like, shit happens. But yeah, like, in that position, you start remembering every single line, and you have kind of marks around the track. Like, in a Supercross, these guys are remembering 16 jumps and 6 corners. Like, I've got a lot more to remember than that. So it's like you remember the section, and you know when that major opportunity is coming, and you know that, okay, I have to start setting up for this 3 corners in advance to make sure I can cut under when it matters. And I did that. I mean, I ran it in on Strang probably 5 or 6 good times, where most other riders I would have had the pass made. And he was too good on defense. The guy's been there and done that for so long. So it's really kind of a game of chess at that point. Like, you're thinking your strategy, his strategy, where can you strike, and making sure that you're always at the right position when you need to. And, you know, my heart rate in a battle like that on the last lap, I'm like pushing 200s, which you can't replicate. Like, I can't replicate on cycling, rowing, doesn't matter. Like, heart rate doesn't hit 200 except on a bike. And, you know, you're getting mentally fatigued, you're breathing heavy. You start thinking, like, most guys just go attack. Like, as more of a veteran now, like, I'm thinking, okay, this section's a little smooth. Nobody behind me is going to get by. I'm going to cool down. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to take a breath. And also, you can see the rider in front of you. You can kind of see when he relaxes, like, the body position just slightly changes. All right, he's taking that breath. I know I can't get by him. He knows I can't. I'm going to take my breath. I'm going to take an advantage. Whenever we go back to it, it's time to strike. And you know, this is where it happens probably 4 or 5 times on the track a lap, and it's only a quarter of a mile. You know, it's a 30 second take your breath. Like, it's a tighter section, whatever. And you're not trying to overwork your body. You might sit down, you grab a sip of water or whatever. And then the second that kind of breaks free, you're going again. But, you know, even during that, what I call my break period, like, we're passing lappers like they're standing still. Like, we're still going really fast. It's just a smooth fast. It's like when somebody has a 30-second lead in a pro national and they kind of take a break, like, they're still going really fast. They're just chilling out, like, kind of the same thing, catching our breath. And then when it goes like that last lap, I mean, having 5 guys fighting for the lead within 5 seconds, like, that got pretty intense. I mean, that's where you forget to breathe a little bit. And I think we all did. Like, it was, I missed my mark. I knew where I had passed Strang the lap before I could have passed him again. And I planned on it, and I got there, and I just completely blew it. And there was only one spot I knew I could make the pass. And I knew it the entire track, and I got there, and there was a guy on my left, and I hesitated, and by the time I hesitated, it was too late. So, you've got to really be sharp, and there's, like I say, a lot of mental game on that side of it.
And yeah, very, very intense.
Yeah.
Just a couple more things with you. You mentioned next year with the team, you didn't have much time this year. Things are going to be a little different. Can you kind of talk about what the 24 plans are for your team, maybe who you're thinking about as riders? If you're considering switching brands away from Austrian, just kind of take us through what your hopes for 24 will be.
Yeah, you know, as a whole, like 24, I'm really looking for where are we going to have the best opportunity, not necessarily for 24, but for the future as well. Mm-hmm. So As far as like picking the manufacturer, it's kind of like not just picking the manufacturer, but picking the manufacturer that you kind of see a little bit of longevity out of. And, right now, like KTM's been really good. I've ridden for KTM since I was 9 years old. Like Jack Penton signed me. So I've had 17 years under KTM. So,
wow, did not know that.
Yeah, I think I only rode away from KTM for the 2 years I was on Yamaha. So, and the one Sherco year. So, yeah, I mean, this is year 20 since I inked my first deal with KTM years ago on 65s. And, they've been really, really good to work with. But, it really comes down to who's going to give me the best opportunity next year. And right now, we're throwing names in a hat and trying to kind of decide like what my other XC1 or XC2 rider is going to be. And, I've got a few names that kind of stuck out, and, some other guys, like it's tough. I've got some really good friends in the sport, and the only problem I see with hiring like one of my really good friends is, will it drive a wedge between myself and a good friend? So, like one of my first options was, I was looking at a good buddy of mine, Evan Smith, and I'm just sitting there going, man, I can just see something going wrong there. So, I'm like, all right, well, maybe that's not the best idea. Like, he's a good friend. We ride together every week. Like, I don't want to drive a wedge there. And hell, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it could make everything better. Like, hell, I might be able to help him. He might be able to help me. But to me, like, it's tough to make business and friendship always work. So,
yeah. What about your brother?
He's definitely, we can hate each other. We hated each other like all of our lives. So like, we were always like fighting nonstop. Dirt bikes mainly were the reason. But yeah, like he's definitely on the list, but his contract's not up this year. So
right.
I think he would have been a top pick, just mainly convenience. He lives 7 miles from the track and the training facility. I'm about to move over towards the training facility. So we'll be, basically 10 miles apart. And testing wise, we're the same size. Not many guys are our size racing at this level. So
that's true.
It makes it to where, like, I feel like we could help each other out, and we have in the past. So, he's on the list, but not for this year. And we're looking at I really want a good female rider, and we've kind of, been playing that one out a little bit to see where that puts us. And, my other Pro 1 or Pro 2, like I'm looking at, I want to look at a couple of the older guys, like guys that are my buddies that aren't quite as, as close, but still good friends that I've known for years. And, one of them would be Thad Duvall, and the other one's Josh Toth. Like, I think those guys are both solid. They've had good results, and both kind of had a bad hand dealt the last couple of years. So,
yeah,
I think that with the right opportunity, those guys could both do very well. And I know Thad's kind of towards the end of his career, but sometimes, strength showed it this weekend, even towards the end, like old dog still got some bite. So,
yes, he does. Yeah. I think he's doing something new next year too.
Yeah. From my understanding, he'll have a completely new program. And
yeah,
it's this is the worst part about racing. Like right now is the worst part, because I'd love to share, like, man, I've got a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff cooking, but it's like you're still under contract from the previous year. And, it's tough. Like you almost wish that things would get leaked a little bit more for a couple reasons. Like, number one, let's say that I do end up changing something major, and my fans or the racers that we're with would want to follow. Well, hell, I can't release it till January 1. Now at that point, they've already bought everything for next year. So now this whatever big deal I have, they're going to be like, well, we didn't see any numbers change for this year. And are they going to give me a second year? I don't know. So that's, those are the tough parts. Like, silly season's rough. Like I wish that we had an instigator like Mathis just stirring shit nonstop for us. So
yeah, maybe Scotty, maybe that could be our role. We got to get more involved with the GNCC stuff. Yeah. Because as I told you, man, I'm starting to fall in love with this, and I definitely, the AmPro team told me any round I want to do, I'm more than welcome to come out. So I'm going to try to hit a lot more next year and get more involved. I have a lot more questions I want to get to. We're definitely going to have to get you back on, but I have two more I want to get to tonight real quick. Scotty, do you have any more before?
No,
okay.
go ahead.
So you have done, I think you're a 2-time ISDE world champion, 5 national enduro championships. So far, haven't got the GNCC one, but I wanted to know if there was like a bucket list thing that you still want to do. I did see you're going to go race in Japan at the national cross country finale for them, but is that a bucket list, or is there something else that stands out that, hey, one day I want to do this event?
Yeah, I would say I really want to go and try Erzberg or Romaniacs. Like doing something like that just to me would be really cool. And too, like I think a pro national would be fun at some point. It's just, that's one of those things I would completely have to change everything for. So like we've seen some guys do it in the past and feel like they were still halfway tied to their roots. So to do it, like it's one of those things you have to completely change every aspect of the way you train, the way you ride. Just so much. So it would take a little more dedication to do that one, but I think a Romaniacs or something like that would still be fun to do. I've got the talent.
That was one of Rachel's answers, and I think both of you are nuts. That doesn't look fun at all. Last question. Once you retire, do you have a record deal and contract set up? Are you ready? Because I did hear your voice Friday night with he was singing, Scotty, some Friends in Low Places with the band.
Oh, nice. That's a good song.
Yeah, it is a good song. Normally.
Oh,
I butchered it. It was bad. There was a little more going on. They were playing it way too slow for me, and I was drinking, which made me more confused.
I feel like that was you, dude. You were singing it slow.
No, you got it. I was listening to the music. It was just going way too slow.
Okay.
Maybe it was me. I mean, hey, whatever. I'll take the blame. But normally I don't butcher that song that bad.
Okay.
I don't think, but yeah.
Well,
so
the fans did not care. They loved it.
Yeah, the fans were still they were luckily they drank more than I did, I think. So and if they didn't, well, but maybe they didn't, but no, it was it's always a good time. So, you know, I don't mind making a fool of myself, to be honest. Hell, I think makes me even more relatable.
I think so, man. I don't think you made a fool of yourself. You were having a good time. I love that you were up there doing that, you know, having fun. The people loved it. I loved it. I thought it was.
I do have one more.
Let's close out with yours.
Have you ever seen, or maybe I won't, you have to say if you've done it yourself, but have you ever seen anybody put the beer in the Camelback?
Oh God.
I've heard of it. I've heard of some wives' tales of like that.
I remember when I was a kid racing Citrus, a guy that said he always raced with 2 beers in a Camelback, said claims he never got arm pump.
Yeah.
And that it was plenty of carbs. He never felt a buzz, but he says he never got arm pump. Now, me personally, I've not done that. 2 years ago was the first time that I had ever drank it, or no, last year was the first time I had ever drank a beer and then rode my motorcycle. Like I don't do it. Like I've done burnouts. I've blown beads off the tire doing a burnout, but like I'm not going to go ride. At my level, I'm still smart enough, even when I'm drunk, to say there's no reason for me to get out there and do that. But there was definitely a time last year where we were at an open moto track at my track, and I was getting beat by riders that should not beat me. I was getting really frustrated, had taken some time off. And I parked my stuff, went back to the truck, drank a couple beers with some buddies that like pro downhill guys, the Shaw brothers and Dakota Norton. They were all out there. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go do a couple more laps. And I went out there, and everywhere that I was struggling to ride ruts, I think I just forgot about the ruts, and I rode twice as good. I had like 3 beers. So, but I don't think you could do it with more than 3 beers. And even after my couple laps, like I came back in and I checked my heart rate. It was like 11 beats higher than before. I was definitely sweating way more. Definitely would not recommend trying to race like that.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. Well, Stu, we've kept you long enough. Really, really, it was a great meeting this weekend. Glad you came on the show, and we'll do it again. I'm going to be at some more of these, and we're going to start trying to cover them a little bit more.
Absolutely. It was awesome for you guys to call. I love kind of seeing the motocross industry get more and more involved in the off-road, and I think it's cool. Like, obviously, we all love the same thing, and that's dirt bikes. And obviously you're a 90s moto guy, because if not, you wouldn't love it like you do. You would say, man, this GNCC stuff's not for me.
No, it's all it's all about it. You know, one of the coolest things was just I was going to touch on is just the family atmosphere of how not only are there families there like I talked about, but they make you your family. Like I stayed with some friends and met their friends, and everybody is just so supportive and having a good time. And I love it, man. I'd love to go to all of them. I won't be able to go to all of them, but yeah, I'm very much into the off-road community now. Yeah,
well, come on out. Hey, if they don't have a bike for you over there, I'll have one for you over here. And come try National Enduro. I can put you up there too.
Okay, I may hit you up on that, Stu. But thank you so much for your time tonight, Steward Baylor tonight. Brought to you by WSA. Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, see you. The legend, Stu.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how cool I expected him to be. So
yeah, he's rad, dude, and he was just down to earth the whole time.
Yeah, he's
like
that
there's
guy,
no faking. That's who he is, right? Like he's like a Chris Kiefer. That's who the guy is.
He's definitely changing that sport, and I think it's for the better. It's he had very good insights on. It's funny how like the GNCC guys want these guys to be all buttoned up, and they told him he had to change who he was. But it's like, dude, like, do you not see what's going on?
What the crowd is?
Yeah, like,
exactly.
dude, like they're yelling for him. Like those are the guys, like he said, that are painting houses and stuff and going in and putting a new head in his bike. Like that guy wants Baylor.
Nobody wants like a straight edge guy in GNCC. Nobody.
No. You get made fun of for being like that.
Since its inception almost 12 years ago, 60 Helmets has been dedicated to the relentless pursuit of brain protection. From the original ATR-1 to its successor, the ATR-2, the goal is to develop a revolutionary design concept utilizing creative, forward-thinking technology that would change the market and improve the safety capabilities of the sports helmets. The helmet is the most important piece of protective equipment you will purchase, so visit 60helmets.com or go to your local dealership and ask for 6D. Tonight, 6D brings us the owner of the General Tires Arena Motocross Nationals, Jay Reynolds. What's up, Jay?
Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Doing good, man. Glad to have you on. You're serious, man. It's right around the corner for the new season.
1 week away.
Yeah. November, 3rd and 4th in Topeka, Kansas. It is. Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, things are, you wouldn't believe it. There's the silly season that's happening right before that with riders and everything, and everybody wanting to come on board, and it's like at the last minute, a lot like sponsors are a lot of times. So it's good. It's really good. Coming together really well.
Yeah, so I think this season is 9 cities, 5 are televised on FS1. Is Daniel Blair involved again?
Oh, yeah. Daniel Blair. Oh, yeah. We got Daniel Blair, Justin, then got Justin Brayton.
Okay.
And then on the floor, we've got it split up between Kristen Beat and Erica Allred. So those are two ladies that are going to really kill it and always do.
Yeah, I know Kristen pretty well. I don't know Erica. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Erica is a girl that's kind of So
nice. Yeah.
Whenever Kristen's doing Worlds, when she's doing Worlds one time, I believe, then Erica's going to fill in.
So one of the things I saw on the schedule was that you're adding some like a super mini championship and a schoolboy championship. Have you ever done something like that before, or is this the first time you're really focusing on those two?
So what we're trying to do, and I'll give credit where credit is due with Daniel Blair. He's been calling the races, and he's like, man, we could open up just a little bit of airtime and really focus on some top amateur talent and put them on national TV. So to do that, let me go back just a little bit, and I'll come right back to that.
Yeah.
We've taken the 250 and 450 pro class and combined them into one class, which everybody on TV that's watching, that will make more sense than having a 250 and a 450 pro class. And in arena cross, they're running the same, right? It's the same guys, right? Mm-hmm. So we made it into an open pro class, and then we combined the purse, doubled the purse, and are going that way. So we're going to have 2 main events out of this new program in the pros. So we'll have 2 main events, and they'll be scored outdoor moto style, or 2 moto combined style for points and for the purse on both nights. What that does in the TV program, that allows us to open up the it actually creates a little bit of time within the 42 minutes that you have of actual TV time. So that's where we're taking the 4 races with the super minis, and then the 6 races with the schoolboy 2s class, and bringing in the top amateur racers. And we're actually going to show their race just about in its entirety, do some background interviews and background stories, just like you do with pros.
Yeah, I like that. Because, yes, those kids are the future. So I think, and we've obviously seen with Super Motocross, those guys did some of that. And I love that. I love seeing those kids out there racing and getting a chance to watch it. Yeah, again, they're the future, and I love it. I love seeing that.
Well, and Jamie says it gives them a stepping, and I agree completely. And not Jamie, but Daniel. I mean, it's giving these kids number one, a chance to race under the lights and see what it's like, and then also get some interviewing skills, and also give them a step before they make it to Supercross Futures.
I like it. As far as teams go, you've had a couple teams that have kind of been part of your series and hung with it. I know Jeff Crutcher's team. He's got Jorgen Taviku coming out this from Estonia, which that's pretty cool. Yep. That guy's got some talent, man. I've seen him, in the GPs. You guys got to be pretty excited about some of the talent and the teams that are.
Oh, well, the vision in the beginning, and it's starting to take place, is instead of going and trying to get the teams from the past, that were in arena cross, well, let's start creating them within the region of where we're at. And Crutcher was the first one to do that, Jeff Crutcher, over at Cycle Zone KTM, and he's named his team Creo, and he's got which is cool. Give it your own name, right? And it's Creo Cycle Zone KTM team, and he's got Tyler Gibbs from Canada, who's legit, and then like you said, Jorgen, and then another kid named Dawson Cobb. So he's got a 3-man team. Bees Moto Lab Gas team has just come on as of today. That's another team. We've got another Honda, the Ozarks. So we're getting these shops just like they did, back in the day, right? Out in California. Well, they're starting to come around in the Midwest. So Honda, the Ozarks is a Honda powerhouse dealership, and they backed Mike Alessi and Brett Greenlee. And then Redline's in on that too. So you've got Michael Alessi, Carter Gordon, Jalen McManus, which this is really a cool story. Jalen, which you may not know who he is, but he's our B-class champion from last year. And now he's moving up to pro. So what that makes that so special to us is that people are actually moving up through the system and then getting rides. So we're really, really stoked about that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Our co-host that decided they didn't want to join us today had a question. He said that you're really good about thinking outside of the box, and he just wanted to know what you kind of had innovation wise for the upcoming years.
Good question. Well, I
don't give him credit for that, Jay. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
It's a mediocre question at best.
So the 250 and 450, it's a good Cam question, right? He asked everybody that, right?
Yeah.
So he just pulled one out of the hat. I would say the innovation would be bringing these amateurs. I mean, where else is that done? On national TV. I'm not talking, like Fox Sports 1. That's the magic bullet that covers, Fox Sports 1 covers their reaches 10 times, if not more, that of Fox Sports 2 or of MAV TV, some of the others where other people are. So we're putting amateur racers on national, the big stage. So that is one. Probably that's the biggest. The other thing I think everybody might like is we're going to start playing with another championship within a championship with the electric bikes. Leaving my mind,
like
not Starks, Surons.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, TJ's gonna love that. He's ate up with that right now.
So I haven't released this, so I'll just release it right now. So we're going to do a 3-race championship, and you can come and race any day by itself. But we're going to do 3 nights on Saturday night. We're going to do Lebanon, Missouri in December. Then we're going to do Kansas City on Saturday night, and then we're going to do, I think, Wichita the Wichita round at the casino. We're going to do that on Saturday night. So we're going to do our 3-race championship with Surons.
Wow.
Or electric type bikes. I think that just judging on what I saw over at Ponca the other day, I think that, and what everybody's saying, that'll turn into something really huge.
Those are definitely getting popular. Yeah, I was at a race at Daniel's facility about a month or so ago, and they had a Suron race, and they lined them up with like the plus 65-year-olds, I think, on like maybe it's 55, but Carson Brown was on a Suron and going faster on the tight sections than one of the old guys on a 450. It was unreal.
I raced a cake bike last year. It's called a cake bike. Have you ever seen them?
I haven't. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, go look at it. It's a very unique looking bike.
Okay.
It's a Suron type bike. Anyway, I raced it in the pit bike class and against modded, 110s, and it's electric bike, and was able to almost win out of 20 or 30 guys. So that was showed the abilities of those bikes.
Very cool. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I love it. You've been doing this a long time. And I want to ask you, you called it the Arena Cross Series a minute ago. What happened with the title? I know my understanding is you had to change the name of the series, but can you give us any details on that?
Long story.
Okay.
And I want to take the high road.
Yep.
Which other people didn't. And I want to take the high road and just move on.
Fair enough. Not a problem. But General Tires is back on board, so those guys obviously believe in you. What about the other sponsors? You've always had a lot of endemic sponsors helping out, and I remember in the past you gave a lot of product away, helping some of these amateurs out.
Oh, absolutely. We do the world's richest riders meeting. We give away over $2,500 worth of product every week. So we do a raffle for everybody in the riders meeting, the amateur riders meeting, comes in and they get a free raffle ticket. And so that means that not just the winners win, the guy that races. I looked back at it and I thought, I'm giving all this stuff to just the champions, right? To the three, and nothing again. Great. We do get stuff for the champions, right? But I mean, one guy, let's be realistic. One guy's going to win the 250 and the 450 novice class. And he's probably going to win a schoolboy class too. So he's walking away with all this stuff. And I thought, is that a good, useful, for a useful way for all this product to go out, if nothing else for my sponsor, what they want, right? They want to get it in the hands of different people. So we just made up this, we came up with this idea. We're going to divide it by nine weekends and give away. I mean, Serbi's Talon's awesome. And we give away a plastic certificate, a free set of plastic guts over there. We, a free seat cover goes out to somebody, and it may be the fourth place finisher in the beginner class. Well, he's a customer too, right? Of
course. Yeah.
And so he absolutely is. And everybody who comes in there is a customer. So yeah, we do that. We're real excited. We just signed Napa Auto Parts. I think that's going to be a huge one to come. A new energy drink, a new Upstart energy drink we did. And then of course we got Geico Motorcycle on board, along with then your Sunoco race fuel and Redline oil, and Redline's really backing the teams, and very, very involved in our race team. Hoosier Tire still, best tires for indoors. Those things are so stiff. Everybody loves them indoors. I can just speak to indoors. So I just know that just, but I know they do love them. They really, really do.
Yeah, I was curious that they were still involved, because it was at one time the Hoosier Arena Cross Series. So yeah, that's good that they're still involved.
And as you progress, right, then sponsor levels grow, and sometimes those, you go to the big brother of Hoosier, which is General Tire, right?
Yeah.
And move on from there. So yeah.
I like that you guys are having this more focus on the pro side of things and not just making it a big event for everybody. When you're talking about the innovations, I like all that stuff with the track. How is the track's going to look like this year? What do you want to see personally change from maybe years prior?
Honestly, that's where let me just speak to our numbers. Okay. I'll say, and then I'll come back to that. So the numbers that we consistently do, and you can go check other people's numbers, we do 700 to 1,000 entries a weekend. Okay. that says to me that the tracks, and that includes anywhere from 20 to 30 pros, and that tells me that the tracks are pretty good. And that's been going on for 5 to 6 years running. So we do, I think, do a really good job of doing a happy medium, because both the pros and the amateurs got to race on these tracks. Last year we did get the whoop section a little bigger. Our track builder Tracy Freeman's really good about taking the rhythm section and making it the triple. There's usually a triple double. It depends on how long the section is, or a step on, step off, or whatever it is. He's usually got something in there that only the top 5, 6 pros can do.
Mm-hmm.
But the amateurs are able to double right on through, right, and have a great time. So so I would say we stand pat with the track, just based on what the on what our numbers have shown in the years past.
Fantastic. Well, Jay, is there anything else that you want to touch on about the series this year? Anything you want to tell the fans, the listeners, anything like that?
Oh, I did. The TV package. There's 2 things, just real quick. The TV package is, I mean, obviously the different companies and the TVs believe in what we're doing. I mean, FS1 is signed on for years, multi-year deals.
That's great.
And we come back, our stuff's post-produced, right? So it's not live. But that allows it to live on a lot. And because it's a nice, tidy package, 44 minutes, an hour package with commercials. So we hit FS1, we get major re-airs on FS1, FS2, FSR Canada ran us over 300 times throughout the year. And we didn't even add, that's just something that they put on. Over 75 airings on FS1 and FS2 in a 3-month time frame. And this year we added on MAV TV. And so they're going to pick us up right at about May,
mm-hmm.
I guess, April or May, and run for 3 months and do 70 to 75 airings there. And then we just launched our new YouTube channel, which is Arena Motocross, and we're putting up, I think there isn't much else out there like this, but we're putting on the full 1-hour broadcast on there from years past. And it's skyrocketing right now as far as views.
That's great. That's great. And you're coming back to Dallas this year, right?
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to talk about. Yeah, so Dallas, Fair Park, Dallas, where they do the state fair.
Yep.
It's 215-acre complex with isn't the Rose Bowl stadiums there?
No, Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Rose Bowl's
not the Rose Bowl. Yeah, what's the other bowl? Anyway,
why am I blanking? There's concerts there every year. What the hell is it?
Yeah.
In Dallas?
Yeah, it's like right there near Deep Ellum. Cotton Bowl.
Man, Cotton Bowl. That's it. So Cotton Bowl, you can throw a rock at it from they just put a bunch of many millions into this indoor stadium right next to it. It's 215-acre complex that is locked down, man. I mean, it's downtown Dallas is good and bad, right? But this place is 215 acres of locked down. So once you're in there, I mean, meaning if you're coming to race or whatever, you're pretty darn safe. And we're stoked to be right in downtown Dallas for that. If everybody was kind of bummed, amateur arena crossers, if you were bummed because there's no Vegas for you guys, maybe we switched our Wichita round from a nice arena over to the Kansas Star Casino, which is a Boyd gaming facility. And this is the top-notch facility. It's huge inside, indoor pits, and it is connected. Literally, they're going to have to put guards there to keep kids from going over and get to the gambling machine. I'm not kidding. You walk out. It's an indoor complex.
Slot machines.
You walk out, and there it all is, bright and shiny, blingy, and carpet all the way through with an attached hotel. Super nice place. That's the last weekend in January. Everybody needs to be in Wichita, and that's going to be the last round of that Suron race too. So I expect that to be huge.
Yeah, if I'm not at A2, which I don't know right now. Let's see, it's A2. No, it'd be San Diego. Maybe if I'm not in California that week, which I may be, but if I'm not, I'm going to definitely come up to that.
Yeah, that's the last weekend in January. That's when it is. And then the last one in Springfield, my hometown, they just tore down the rinky-dink arena that's been here forever and built a full-scale one, and we're going to have the one of the first dirt events in there, first week of February. That'll be our finals. So
Love it.
Yeah, stoked for the teams, stoked for the riders, and stoked to be on the show, man. Appreciate what you guys do.
Appreciate you guys reaching out. And yeah, I was gonna. We had a full show already, but I wanted to squeeze you in because we aren't doing a show next week, and I know the season, like I said, kicks off November 3rd and 4th in Topeka, so we want to get you on before then. So I'm glad, like every year, that you reach out and keep us involved. Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting season for you.
Yep. Everybody go check out arenamotocross.com on YouTube and the socials, and we'll see you guys. We'll keep on doing what we do, and you do what you do, and I think we'll be good.
Well, hey, Jay, thanks for your time. 60 helmets presented Jay Reynolds tonight from General Tires Arena Motocross Nationals. Thanks again for your time, man.
Man, I appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too. See ya. That's Jay Reynolds. Yeah, that's a fun series, man. I haven't rode one, but I went to one back when it used to be, like, originally, I remember being Nitro Arena Cross, and I went to one of those in Mesquite, and it's grown a lot since then. Like, that's where they used to do the stunt show and with Brian Jackson, and I don't know if he's still involved in that or not, but it's a very cool Arena Cross series, and there's a lot, like I said, 9 cities you guys can go to and check out. If you see one coming to your area, definitely
That's cool that they're at the Cotton Bowl. I didn't realize that.
I'm going to try to go to that one if I'm in town that time. All right, let's start wrapping this show up. All right, we're 2.5 hours already. 4 guests.
I'm sure they're happy.
Yeah, not a whole lot more to talk about with the GNCC stuff. I know I said we'd kind of come back to it, but I kind of thanked everybody. Once again, I just want to give Pete a bunch of shit for just talking shit. But
at least he went up the hill.
Yeah, that's true. All right, fair enough. No, they were great. Thanks again to all the families that helped me out. But yeah, my total time, 1:51:56. I finished. I'm very, very happy with that. We talked about the spot. Jason Lawrence, we didn't really touch on that. Jason Lawrence was there. I did do an interview with him, very short, like 3.5 minutes. It's up on Vital. So if you want to check that out. And a few other people did some stuff with Jason. Same old Jason Lawrence, man.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'd ever really met him, though. But
what'd you think?
No comment? I don't know. I mean, he was fine. He seemed interested in it. Like, he was happy to be there.
Engaged. That's good.
Yeah, he was engaged. He wasn't like, I don't really want to do it. He was like, yeah, let's do it. So he was fine. He was cool. I didn't talk to him very long. Just did the interview. I think we've covered GNCC pretty well, huh? No more questions, nothing else.
No, I'm good.
I'm trying to think of anything else stood out. Like, there was a couple. I had 2 crashes. I think I mentioned that, and that was.
I don't think you mentioned that on the show.
Okay, so 2 crashes. Just learning that exposed roots, and wet tires don't match very well. They don't mesh. I don't have the name in front of me. There was somebody with Ampro Yamaha, a woman there. She went right into kind of making fun of me and giving me shit in the pits. And then I crashed twice. Somehow, even though the crashes were in totally separate areas, she saw both of them. So she caught me after the race. She was like, yeah, I saw both your crashes. Or she said, I saw 2. She's like, I saw you crash twice. I was like, how the hell did you see both of them? They weren't even in the same area. She didn't get them on. She sent me some pictures, but she didn't get the crashes. But again, that just kind of goes back to how friendly and inviting and family oriented it all was. Just everybody was just super.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a big vibe, dude. I want to go do one. Or at least go to one, a pro one.
Okay, Guts Racing. We already did Guts Racing. I feel like I'm missing one of the sponsor reads here. Let's do Motul. I definitely feel like I'm missing founded in 1853, Motul is a 170-year-old company. For decades, Motul has developed a high-performance synthetic ester-based lubricants. By selecting esters over other high-performance synthetic-based stocks and combining them with an innovative additive package, Motul has created a perfect synergy. This most advanced ester core technology allows the maximum power output of the engine without compromising reliability and wear. Shopmotul.com and enter code VITAL20. Now, I was told that code is not working. We're working on getting a new code.
Working on it not working?
Yeah, I was told just this week. We've reached out to them. I haven't got a response yet, but we're trying to get a new code. But as of right now, it's supposed to be VITAL, all capitalized, 20, no spaces, to receive 20% off your order, $50 or more, or go to your local dealership and ask for Motul. Motul email. This one just says, like, hey, what's one rider from each series, meaning motocross and MXGP, that you would like to see switch, come over? Like, is there one guy you'd love to come see? Like, to me, obviously, Hurlings would be the one.
Yeah.
And then from motocross, for me, kind of go Eli, but Eli's on his way out. So I think Eli a couple years ago would have been my answer. I don't know right now.
Yeah.
Anything stand out to you?
I think we're kind of. It sounds like we might be getting it with Prado. I think that'd be cool.
Well, that'd be for Supercross. I'm talking about outdoor.
Oh, just to see
I
an
guess
outdoors?
next year, in 25 he may be over here. You're right. Yeah, he will be over here. I think. Yeah.
I'd
You're
like-
right. You're right.
I'd like to see some of the amateur guys. I'd like to see what like Switch, Deegan, and Everts.
Oh, you said amateur,
No,
but the like
the lights class or
MX2
MX2
and,
and
or
250s.
We don't not lights.
I corrected myself.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know what you're saying. Yeah, but see, I don't want them to do that yet. They're too early in their career.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I
don't
know,
wanna
but I'm
see
just
Deegan
saying, like,
leave now. Go to but like I'm just thinking like next year, if there was one guy.
yeah. I don't know. It'd be well. I mean, not for. Are you saying to swap forever or just for for?
If it was for one season, but I wouldn't want to lose
a whole season.
Yeah,
Okay.
a whole season.
I was thinking like just like a race or two.
No, a whole season. Like I'd like to see Hurlings come here, see where he's at.
Yeah.
And kind of like Ryan Villapoto tried to do, see a guy go over there, and nobody totally stands out right now other than like Eli or even Kenny, but they're both kind of at the end of their career, so I don't know.
I don't know why I think this because I don't really have a much of facts to base this on, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like Febra would do good over here.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Febra would be a good pick.
Febra, and then like maybe someone like who would do good over there? I think someone like Mookie would be cool.
Okay, all right, good answers. There's your answer. X Brand. So X Brand, we've talked in the read before about all the GNCC stuff and off-road stuff. So this past weekend, Craig DeLong, who just won the XC1 championship, X Brand. Josh Strang, who won the XC1 race at Ironman, X Brand. Bryson Neal, national hare and hound champion, ATV XC1 champion, X Brand. And then we got Hunter Lawrence, champion in Alpine Star goggles, which are Lucids. Xbrand.com. Go to your local dealership. I'm waving these papers around if you're watching on YouTube.
I was pointing at the sign.
Oh yeah. Go to your local dealership, ask for X Brand, or go to eksbrand.com. Look at the different colorways, get you some. They're distributed through the WPS at your local dealerships. Procs, highs, and lows. We're going to wrap this thing up, coming to an end. Rooted in racing from motocross to off-road, supporting teams like Pro Circuit Kawasaki, my now officially team, and Pro Yamaha. I'm Blue Crew, baby. Blue Crew. I do have one more thing to say about GNCC in a second. And SLR Honda. Procs has been dedicated to supplying quality components since 1975. From complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance like filters, chains, and sprockets, Procs aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. Find Procs at your local dealer or online retailer. Visit procs-usa.com to search parts for your bike and follow Procs Racing on social media. I don't think I flubbed any of those tonight.
Yeah, you did pretty good. I didn't notice. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention to it today.
Procs,
Maybe
highs,
that's
and
probably why
lows.
you didn't mess up.
I'm going to go highs, the GNCC, lows, Hurlings.
The lows, the GNCC.
I also want to add a high of the hug from Naomi.
Oh, yeah.
That was just super sweet. That really did melt my heart. Yeah, those are mine. Those are my Procs, highs and lows. What you got?
My lows was that there was no Cowboys game. There was no race. There was no.
I just thought of my lows, more lows.
Yeah, that was one of my highs.
I'm sure it was.
But those and my lows, and then the high is that we're just it's getting into that fall season, and it's gonna start getting cold, and the next thing you know, Supercross will be here. So
yeah, true. Yeah, I guess I should add the lows. My Niners got beat 2 weeks in a row now. That was rough.
Let's keep that. I like it. I like that streak. Let's keep that streak going.
They're fine. I'm really. It bummed me out last night, but I'm not really worried. But then like USC lost again, and USC just kind of seems to suck right now. So
yeah,
it just is what it is. But the other thing I want to talk about with two things actually. Let me find this freaking. So Michael Rich from Yamaha wanted me to talk about this. There is an event, and I'm not super prepared for this, coming up. Yamaha Motors USA is proud to welcome Blue Crew riders to join us at the second Blue Crew Invitational. South Motocross event at the Lazy River Raceway in Dalton, Georgia. Open to riders of any skill level, ages 4 to 60 plus. Planned for 2 full days of incredible racing action with a 3-moto format on the wide open Lazy River MX track. Followed by a full slate of fun evening activities, prizes, exclusive gifts, and special guests. It's a perfect opportunity for an unforgettable race experience with your fellow Yamaha enthusiast. brought to you by Yamaha Blue Crew and Yamaha of Dalton. This is an exclusive event open only to Yamaha Blue Crew members. So you got to go to YamahaMotorsports.com/Blue Crew if you want to get involved in this. If you're a Blue Crew member, sign up and check this out. It's October 28th and 29th at Lazy River in Dalton, Georgia. Yeah, so check that out. If you're a Yamaha guy, you're in the area, you want to do that event, it's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of fun. I would guess that Bradshaw and Ryan Villapoto would be there, so I want to shout that out. And then I want to talk about the Yamaha 250 that I rode, the FX model. Mm-hmm. That bike is fun, man. The guy I was talking about that used to do racing stuff, he had one, and that thing is it's definitely built for the woods. Yeah, it's absolutely it's soft. That's actually okay. I got a little bit more to talk about now. It's soft, but it's geared differently, obviously.
Yeah.
But it had all the power when I needed it. The first couple laps, especially the first lap and a half, I had massive hand cramps. Like I never really got tired, but I damn sure couldn't push because I just couldn't open my hands. I was getting like whiskey throttle, so I was cruising. But the bike, like it was very snappy. When I would get the little bit of whiskey, that bitch wanted to take off.
Yeah.
But it did everything I wanted to. When I did do some of the hills, like no problems.
Was it mostly stock or was it like
No, it was all stock. It was all stock. I didn't ride like Zacho's bike this time. It was fully stock. It was perfect because like the handlebars fit me. Because Zacho's bike had like the micro type bars and it was great. It was an awesome bike. It made me really, if I can't get a 350 for next year, I would like a Yamaha 250F. The moto version. Yeah. It's a good bike. It's a good...
They're strong,
it felt really good. I love the way it felt. I'm going to write a story about GNCC that I have more details, but a lot of fun. We did get to ride the part of the moto track, the GNCC track.
Was that part of the course?
Yeah, and it was last year too. But so we went through the rollers backwards, and like I was like, okay, I can make up some time here, man. I'm trying to blitz these things, but the suspension was so soft by the end. When you would get to the last one, I couldn't use it like as a braking bump to stop because the bike was so bouncy. Yeah, like I almost went over the bars a couple times trying to ride a little bit of moto through that. But it was such a good bike overall in the woods. It was just awesome, man. I can't say enough good things about it. I'll write more about it soon, probably next week. So yeah, experience was really great. I want to wrap this thing up by thanking all of our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Racetech and Boyesen, along with X-Brand Goggles, Prox, Guts Racing, FXR, 60, Motul, WSA. I want to thank Liam Draper, Rachael Archer, Steward, Baylor, and Jay Reynolds for coming on. Anything else before we go?
No, I just shout out to the you two guys as always for being a part of it.
TJ said they were kind of giving you a hard time about your questions.
It was just him.
Oh, was it just him?
Yeah, it was just him. They all.
He sent me a screenshot.
One guy said co-host has the right mentality most of the time.
It says group chat raging Scotty for long questions.
That's just him. It was just him.
I'm opening this up. Hang on.
It was just TJ. Nobody else.
Really?
Most people say that I have good questions. It was just him. But
TJ said, I work a lot. I work hard then listening to Scotty's drawn out questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just him. Yeah,
I don't even know what that hardly means because his grammar is so bad.
Yeah.
I'm reading these. Sorry, I'm being quiet. All right.
No, okay.
Yeah, so no show next week. We'll be back in a couple weeks, but appreciate everybody listening. Looking forward to, maybe I don't know what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, but we'll have something. We're out.
Figure it out.